KX7 WTF radio check. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your call sign. Radio check sounded good. X7, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. Kilo X-ray 7, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. Appreciate the radio check. I'm going to make it all the way from in. Thank you. You sounded a lot scratchy that time, only about 50% through the repeater. You sounded a lot scratchy that time, only about 50% through the repeater. You sounded a lot scratchy that time, only about 50% through the repeater. Received. I'll check our echo link later then. Thank you. KX7 WTF clear. Received. I'll check our echo link later then. Thank you. KX7 WTF clear. Received. I'll check our echo link later then. Thank you. KX7 WTF clear.
CX, Tom, are you there? KG5P.
Mike, I'm here, KE5I6.
Okay, well, this is before the net started. Did you say that you got your project working today? If you didn't, I'll help you get it working.
Mike, I'm here, KE5I6.
Okay.
Well, I got it home, and it was kind of working. I can't seem to get it to take the new IP address, so I don't know what's up with it.
Okay, well, I've fiddled around with these enough, so I pretty much know their behavior, so I'd be more than happy to work with you either in person or over the phone. Okay, well, I've fiddled around with these.
All right, well, I may give you a ring. I'm going to play with it some more, probably tomorrow in the AM and see what's going on. It's probably something stupid. I don't know, but we'll find out. W5FC.
Well, it always is something stupid. You just, it takes a genius to figure out what it is, though. So anyway, yeah, we'll just wait for the net, and I'll talk to you tomorrow sometime, maybe. KG5P.
We'll find out.
W5FC.
Well, it always is something stupid. You just, it takes...
All right, thanks, Mike. I may take you up on that offer. I thought I saw what I needed to know, but apparently I'm missing. So I'll play with it in the morning, and then after that, I may. All right, I do appreciate it. I may take you up on that offer. I thought I needed to know, but.
Okay, well, I hope you do. I'm still fiddling with this.
I'll play with it in the morning, and then after that, I may.
That Brady.
I do appreciate it.
got me started doing this is with the portable directory. But Bill Brady wants to do it the other way, so I'm doing it the other way too, to do the full install, which is probably better. I think you'll have more of an idea what's going on if you do the full install than with the portable directory with everything already installed. But I'm working on that too, so we'll talk to you tomorrow. KG5P. Which is probably better. I think you'll have more of an idea what's going on if you do the full install than with the portable directory with everything already installed. But
Okie dokie, KE5ICX.
so we'll talk to you tomorrow. KG5P. Which is probably better. I think you'll have more of an idea what's going on if you do the full install than with the portable directory with everything already installed. But
Okie dokie, KE5ICX.
so we'll talk to you tomorrow. KG5P.
Okie dokie, KE5ICX.
I need to make myself very clear. If we uplink now, Skynet will be in control of your military.
But you'll be in control of Skynet, right?
That is correct, sir.
Skynet.
If we uplink now, Skynet will be in control of your military.
But you'll be in control of Skynet, right?
That is correct, sir.
Skynet.
If we uplink now, Skynet will be in control of your military.
But you'll be in control of Skynet, right?
That is correct, sir.
Skynet.
Does anyone need to use the repeater before we begin the 9 p.m. Skynet? Does anyone need to use the repeater? This is KF5PDS. My name is Billy, and I'll be your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. Skynet is a weekly net called every Saturday night at 9 p.m. concerning the subject of astronomy. Our purpose is to help amateurs become more familiar with the nighttime and daytime sky, astronomy, and space in general. This net is open to all amateurs interested in this topic, and we encourage your participation, comments, and suggestions for this net. Stations with priority or emergency traffic may enter the net at any time by using the pro sign break and your call. Net is open to all amateurs interested in this topic. Emergency or priority traffic. Participation, comments, and suggestions for this net. Stations with priority or emergency traffic may enter the net at any time. This is a directed net. Please do not transmit without direction from net control. That would be me. And stations are reminded to ID at the end of your transmissions. This weekly net operates on 146.880 megahertz with a PL tone of 110.9. Check-ins via Echolink are also possible using the W5FC-R station ID or Echolink node 37247. Tonight's topics, astronomy charts, pictures, and live audio-video links are available online. Go to www.w5fc.org right now for the complete list. And remember to tell others about this popular net. All amateur operators are welcome. You need not be a member of any amateur radio club to participate. This net is 90 minutes long and is structured in several parts. General announcements, Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas events, where and when you can look through a telescope, National Space Society events, discussion topic of the evening, space exploration and space history, Was Up, topic or constellation of the week, space launches of the week, recent astronomical discoveries, visible satellite passages over the next couple of days, astronomical Q&A, and the 73 round. All amateurs licensed to transmit on this frequency are invited to check in, so at this time I'll turn the net over to my alternate net control, Tom, KE5ICX, if you'll do the check-in honors, please. All amateurs licensed to transmit on this frequency are invited to check in, so at this time I'll turn the net over to my alternate net control, Tom.
Thank you, KE5ICX. My name's Tom, and I will be your alternate net control this evening. So we'll go ahead and take check-ins now. Low power, short time. Please come with your call sign phonetically, your name, where you're transmitting from. Low power, short time only, please. Thank you, KE5ICX. My name's Tom, and I will be your alternate net control this evening. So
Number Tango 5, Tango Mike, Tony, low power portable in Dallas.
please come with your call sign phonetically, your name, where you're transmitting from. Low power, short time only, please.
Golf 5, Juliet Papa, November, Mark and Oak Cliff, low power, portable.
Tango 5, Tango Mike, Tony, low power portable in Dallas.
Golf 5.
Number 5, India Mike Sierra, short time. I will be monitoring off and on. Number 5, India Mike Sierra, short time. I will be monitoring off and on.
Okay, I got 3. I've got NT5TM, Tony, low power Dallas portable, KG5JP, and Mark, low power Dallas portable, and I got N5IMSC short time. I should know who you are. Please give me your name, and if you have anything for the net, this is a good opportunity to find out. NT5TM, Tony, low power Dallas portable,
I knew I missed something. This is JJ in Carrollton.
Dallas portable, and I got N5IMSC short time. I should know who you are. Please give me your name. Oh, darn it, I knew that. Okay, JJ, I got you down. Okay, I'll take general check-ins now. If you want to join us this evening, please come now with your call sign phonetically, your name, where you're transmitting from. General check-ins.
November 5, Bravo, Bravo. Bill, in Irving.
Okay, I'll take general check-ins now. If you want to join us this evening, please come now with your call sign phonetically, your name.
This is KF5, JH.
General check-ins.
November 5, Bravo, Bravo. Bill, in Irving.
Hey, I'm not just.
FP, Mike and Richardson.
This is KF5, JH.
Oh, Foxtrot 5, Zulu, Bravo, Lima, Bill, Farmers Branch.
Hey, I'm not just.
This is Kilo, Golf 5, Echo, India Uniform, David, St. Paul, Texas. Foxtrot 5, Zulu, Bravo, Lima.
This is Whiskey Bravo 5, Oscar Zulu Lima, Brenda in DeSoto.
5, Echo, India Uniform, David. Whiskey 5, Lima, Hotel Juliet, Don and Clinton.
Lima, Brenda in DeSoto.
Oh, Foxtrot 5, Tango, Sierra Kilo, Burl and Dallas. 5, Lima, Hotel Juliet, Don and Clinton.
Hello, 5, Kilo, Tango X-Ray, Kelly in Quinlan.
Tango, Sierra Kilo, Burl and Dallas.
India 5, Gulf Romeo Hotel, Melissa in Dallas.
Hello, 5, Kilo, Tango X-Ray, Kelly in Quinlan.
Bravo, Jake, Weather.
India 5, Gulf Romeo Hotel, Melissa in Dallas.
For Golf 5, Papa Mike, Rich and Rockwall. For Golf 5, Papa Mike, Rich and Rockwall.
Kilo, Foxtrot 5, Lima, Kilo, Golf. Between Crum and Denson.
answers.
All right, I'm getting writer's cramp. I'm going to hold up there, and I'll take another round in just a minute. Let me see. Let me get everybody in here. I've got N5BB, Mr. Bill and Irving, K5JHA, Chaz and Mesquite, KG5B, Mike and Richardson, K5ZVL, Mr. Bill and Farmers Branch, KG5EIU, David in St. Paul, WB5OZL, Miss Brenda in DeSoto. Next, turn the page, this one I have problems. Don, Whiskey 5, Lima, question mark, Juliet, I think. Don, if that sounds even remotely like your call, please give it to me again. If I remember, your signal was a little bit weak. Maybe you want to do it twice. Try Don. Whiskey 5, Lima.
Whiskey 5, Lima, Hotel, Juliet. Back to net.
Please give it to me again. If I remember, your signal was a little bit weak. Well, you sounded fine that time. Maybe it was me. Whiskey 5, Lima Hotel Juliet, Don, somewhere in the Metroplex. I got K5TSK, Mr. Burrow in Dallas. I got K5KTX, Miss Kelly in Quinlan. I got KI5GRH, Melissa in Dallas. Welcome. KG5BZW. I got K5TSK, Mr. Burrow. Wait a minute. KG5BZW, that's Jay in Weatherford. I don't know why I was thinking something else. AG5PM, Rich in Rockwall, nice net, by the way. KF5LKG in Denton. You were in and out on the repeater. Could I get your name, please? And did I get your call right? I don't know why I was thinking something else. AG5.
Yes, Tom, you got it right. Kilo Foxtrot 5, Lima Kilo Golf. Name here is David. Just getting it Denton now.
Please, and did I get your call right? Oh, I should have known that too, and I recognize your voice. KF5LKG, David in Denton, and I got AA5AH, Robert in Richardson. I'll take more check-ins over air. Please come with your call sign, name, where you're transmitting from. And I recognize your voice. KF5LKG, David in Denton, and I got AA5AH, Robert in Richardson. I'll take more check-ins over air. Please come with your call sign, name, where you're transmitting from. Okay, I guess we exhausted that avenue. Let's go over to Echolink only. If you'd like to join us this evening, please come now with your call sign, your name, where you're transmitting from. I will give you extra time. Okay, I guess we exhausted that avenue. Let's go over to Echolink only. If you'd like to join us this evening, please come now with your call sign, your name, where you're transmitting from. I will give you extra time.
November 5, Yankee Echo Oscar, Stephen, San Antonio, short term because of low power. November 5, Yankee Echo Oscar,
Whiskey 0,
Stephen, San Antonio,
Missouri,
term
with
because of low power. November 5, Yankee Echo Oscar,
Whiskey 0,
Stephen, San Antonio,
Missouri, with
because of low power.
All right, let me go ahead and get those folks checked in. And welcome, Bethany. I heard you out there. Let's see. We've got KB9SGY. That's David. David, could you give me your location again? We're always curious, especially the 9 calls. Go ahead. Those folks checked in. And welcome, Bethany. I heard you out there. Let's see. We've got KB9SGY.
Chippewa Falls,
That's
Wisconsin.
David.
Chippewa Falls,
Could you give
Wisconsin.
me your location again? We're always curious, especially the 9 calls. Go ahead. Okay, thanks, David. I still didn't get it, but I'll look you up later. I got N5YEO, that's Stephen in San Antonio, now retired, very happy individual, no longer working on Saturday evenings. And I got W0MBC, that's Shane and Company in Blue Springs, Missouri. Somebody says maybe Wisconsin. Okay, David, but very good. And Bethany, welcome to the net. Okay, let's see. I'll take check-ins. Somebody says maybe Wisconsin. Okay. From anyone who'd like to join us this evening, please come to the call sign. Name where you're transmitting. Welcome to the net. Okay, let's see.
November, Quebec, Alpha, Ron. Beautiful downtown Dallas. What am I checking into?
Would like to join us this evening? Please come to the call sign. Name where you're transmitting. Welcome to the net. Okay, let's see.
November, Quebec, Alpha, Ron. Beautiful downtown Dallas.
Do you have a recipe this evening, Ron?
Tom, I have recipes every evening. This isn't cooking net, though, is it?
Do you have a recipe this evening, Ron? No, negative, but I always like to do that to you because why not? No, this is Skynet. You're not usually awake at 9 p.m. on a Saturday night, or if you are, you're usually causing trouble. No, negative, but I always like to do that to you because why not? No, this is Skynet. You're not usually... All right, got N5SQA, Ron, checked in. Anyone else?
This is Kilo Echo 0 Zulu Lima Mike. Nick, checking in from Ames, Iowa via Echolink.
Kilo Golf 5, Zulu Mike Golf, Joe in Arlington.
Lima Mike. Nick, checking in from Ames, Iowa via Echolink.
Kilo Golf 5, Zulu Mike Golf, Joe in Arlington.
Lima Mike. Nick, checking in from Ames, Iowa via Echolink.
Golf 5, Uniform David Mesquite.
Golf 5, Whiskey Victor Lima, James and Carrollton.
Golf 5, Uniform David Mesquite.
Golf 5, Whiskey Victor Lima, James and Carrollton.
All right, we got, just when I thought it was fading out, we got second round here. KE0, Zulu Lima Mike, that's Nick in Ames, Iowa. Welcome, Nick. This is the Skynet. We do this every Saturday night at 9 our time here Central. I've got KG5ZMG, that's Joe in Arlington. KG5Z India X-Ray, that is Joe in Wiley. Welcome, Joe. And Joe, welcome both Joes. KG5 UK Ute, David and Mesquite, welcome back. KG5WVL, Whiskey Victor Lima, James and Carrollton, welcome back. Anyone else, please come down. Welcome both Joes. KG5 UK
This is...
welcome back. KG5WVL, Whiskey Victor Lima, James and Carrollton, welcome back. Anyone else?
Bravo, number 4, Mike, Foxtrot, India, WB4, MFI, Ted, Dallas, low power, long time. WB4, MFI. Ted, Dallas, low power, long time.
All right, that's how you do it, kids. WB4, MFI, Ted in Dallas, low power, long time. Okay, Ted, there may be a test at the end of the net. Okay, we are up to 29 check-ins. Not bad for a first and a second round, really. So I'm going to send this back to our net control. That would be Miss Billy, KF5PDS from KE5ICX, and that's yours. Hey, we are up to 29 check-ins. Not bad for a first and a second round, really. So I'm going to send this
Great,
back
thank
to
you,
our
Tom. That might be some kind of initial check-in record. I don't know that we've had 29 check-in on the front end. That's awesome. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Skynet. And welcome back, Bethany. It's good to hear your voice. Keep coming back and joining us. We love having you here. All right, this is KF5PDS, Billy, your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. All right, let's go ahead and get started with general announcements. Do we have any general announcements for this evening's net? These can be ham, astronomical, space, or of general interest to licensed hams. If so, please come now with your call sign. All right, let's go ahead and get started with general announcements.
Baby.
General announcements for this evening's net. These can be ham, astronomical, space, or of general interest.
Number Tango 5, Tango Mike.
Please come now with your call sign.
Baby.
Let's start with N5BB. Bill, it's good to see you today. What announcements do you have for us?
Tango Mike. See you at Fair Park. The Irving Ham Fest is 2 weeks from today.
What announcements do you have for us?
March the 7th. See you at Fair Park. The AM is single location, which is about half a mile south of Highway 183 on Story Road at Irving Boulevard. If you have any questions about the Irving Ham Fest, send me an email inside bb@arrl.net. Also, there is going to be a ARISS, International Space Station, contact from school in Rockwall on Tuesday, February the 25th, and it's going to be the Celia Hayes Elementary School in Celia Hayes, CELIA Hayes Elementary School in Rockwall. The contact will be it'll start at roughly 11:30 a.m. on Tuesday. This is from W7KYG. Is where I got that information. And that's all I've got. This is Inside BB. It'll start at roughly 11:30 a.m. on Tuesday. This is from W7KYG.
Great. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it. All right. Next up is November Tango 5 Tango Mike. Tony, good evening. What announcements do you have for us this evening? Great. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it. All right. Next up is
Billy.
Tango 5 Tango Mike. Tony, good evening. What
Interesting night.
this evening?
Right now, that is not the last set of the evening. We do have the afterglow movie discussion coming up at 10:30 or so on this repeater tonight. I'm not entirely sure which bad movie it is they're going to be discussing. I am reassured that it is bad. Right now, that is not the last set of the evening. We do have the afterglow movie discussion coming up at 10:30 or so on this repeater. We do have a fourth Monday coming up. It's a fourth Monday this Monday, and that means it's time for GeekNet. You're welcome to discuss anything on this net that you like to geek out about. Butterflies, stamp collecting, how to train your dog not to bark. Anything that you geek out about, if you're an expert and think it's cool, or you've just heard a news story about it, bring to the net. We'd love to hear you. That's 7 o'clock this Monday on this repeater, the GeekNet. Thank you for listening. November Tango 5, Tango Mike. You geek out about, if you're an expert and think it's cool, or you've just heard a news story about it, bring to the net. We'd love to hear you. That's 7 o'clock.
Great. Thank you, Tony. All right. Does anybody else have any general announcements for this evening's net? If so, please come now with your call sign. Not hearing any other announcements, so I'll go ahead with a few announcements of my own. The AMSAT Radio Amateur Satellite Group has 2 nets available to Dallas residents on Tuesday evenings at 8 p.m. Central Time. You'll need EchoLink installed and you registered. You can also find the net under Groups and AMSAT. Also, a live audio link is available on their website at www.amsatnet.com, and this net originates in Houston, Texas. The Dallas AMSAT net, Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas, is every Wednesday at 9 p.m. on the Arlington repeater, 147.140 megahertz, with a PL tone of 110.9 and a positive offset. The DARC also has several Monday night nets. The first Monday of the month is Ham Fixin's Net, and you heard Tom kind of joking around with one of our listeners about a recipe. Well, if you want to bring recipes, bring it to Ham Fixin's Net. This is where we share recipes, and if anybody has a question about food or an anecdote or interesting food fact, you name it, bring it to Ham Fixin's Net. They do share some wonderful recipes. And they'll print them up in the newsletter, too. So if you're a member of the club, you can get the newsletter. So join us, and you can get all the inside info on Ham Fixin's Net. Second Monday of the month is MCOM 101, Emergency Communications. Third Monday of the month, we have a second helping of Ham Fixin's Net. So if you didn't get enough on the first Monday, come back on the third Monday for more Ham Fixins. And then, as Tony mentioned, on the fourth Monday is GeekNet. Tony would love to have you share all kinds of geeky, cool things on the GeekNet. And whenever we have a fifth Monday, because some months we do end up with a fifth Monday, we have a fifth Monday surprise net. It could be anything from a round of Jeopardy to we've done Christmas Thunderdome, where we shared best and worst Christmas presents of the year. We've had April Fool's Truth or Lies and a build your own short story, round robin short story. So there's been all kinds of fun. It's always a pleasant surprise on the fifth Monday surprise net. And as mentioned, Saturdays is the Night of Nets with TechNet from 7 to 8 p.m. And of course at 9 p.m. Skynet. The ARRL Net National Traffic System Training Net is every night at 6:30 p.m. And as mentioned, Saturdays is the Night of Nets with TechNet from 7 to 8 p.m. And of course at 9 p.m. Net on the Night of Nets, we have the Afterglow Movie Net. So if you've never joined us for that, what we do is we have a list of recommended movies from listeners, and we pick a movie and watch it during the week, and then come back and discuss it on the following Saturday night. So at this time, I'll turn the net over to Tom, KE5ICX, if you will give us tonight's Afterglow info. We pick a movie and watch it during the week, and then come back and discuss it on the following Saturday night. So at this time...
Okay, Miss Billy, this one was really interesting. I'll explain it after I give the synopses here real quick. Mars, a planet somewhere between the third and fifth planet. It's nothing special, just your basic terraformed planet in the old Sol system. Lieutenant Melanie Ballard, like all extraterrestrial police, was sorting out the usual problems you find only on your planet patrol. This week, the zombie miners, possessed by ancient Martians, were jaywalking near the Mars bar. The bar, not the candy. The possessed miners were committing horrific acts of death and destruction, not to mention causing traffic jams on Martian rural route number 3, a popular zombie commute route to death and destruction. It was only a matter of time before Brad Pitt would show up and wrestle crowd control from Ballard. Welcome to Mars. So join us for the Afterglow movie Ghosts of Mars tonight at 10:30 p.m. Now, I got some good news and some bad news. I got that time before Brad Pitt would show up and wrestle. It turns out that this movie was cleverly hidden on YouTube as a legitimate film, and it indeed is a John Carpenter legitimate film, except for one problem. Whoever posted it murdered it, worse than the zombies, and it only lasted about 30 minutes. Well, We tried to fix it as best we could, and with tape and everything else. So whatever discussions we have on this fine probably only takes about 30 minutes of the film, which may be a good thing in disguise. So what did we do as a group? We sometimes actually watch it together on Friday evenings via chat, and we start at 8 o'clock. So if you want to join that, join the Afterglow Movie Group or contact me, Kilo Echo 5, India Charlie X-Ray, KE5ICX at yahoo.com, and see you want to join the Afterglow Movie Group. So, what do we pick for the second movie? Are you ready for this? Let me drop carrier. Movie Group or contact me, Kilo Echo 5, India Charlie X-Ray, KE5. We watched the 1961 film Nude on the Moon. Yes, there is such a movie, and yes, there was some nudity. So the plot, though, was pretty bad. Actually, you could substitute Ghosts of Mars or Nude on the Moon and pretty much have the same movie, only one's on Mars and the other one's on the Moon. So there you have it. I will be more attentive when I go and actually check the films. I don't generally preview them. I watch them with everybody else to be equally as surprised or depressed. So I didn't know that we would have this hack job that we had for a movie. Okay, back to net control. This is KE5ICX. I don't generally preview them. I watch them with everybody else to be equally as surprised or depressed.
Great, thank you, Tom. Yeah, this is the first time I've heard of this kind of massive weirdness. Usually we don't have any trouble with our movies, so this is not a typical week. So anyway, join us for the Afterglow Movie Net. We always have a good time discussing the movies and anything related to the movies, you know, certain aspects of film, characterization, plot, you name it, music, special effects. It's always a good time on the Afterglow Movie Net. This is KF5PDS, Billy, your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. All right, next up is Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas events, where and when you can look through a telescope. So if anyone has any news that's on frequency about the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas, please come now with your call sign. All right, next up is Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas.
F5JHA.
So if anyone has any news that's on frequency about the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas, please come now with your call sign. KF5JHA. Chaz, good evening. What news do you have for us?
F5JHA. Hey, Billy. Good evening, Nat. How are all of you doing on this cloudy Saturday? Seems cloudy more often than normal recently. The Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas has meetings on the fourth Friday of each month at 7:30 p.m. But for the half hour preceding the meeting, there's usually a beginner's talk or a dark sky location orientation. So come at 7 o'clock. The meeting starts at 7:30. Now, this month, we have a special guest. For the half hour preceding the meeting, there's usually a beginner's talk or a dark sky location orientation. So not that any of our guests are not special, but this month we have a special guest. He's loony, even loonier than I am. Robert Reeves is Mr. Moon. He does astrophotography of all the different features close up of the moon, wide angle, but also very close up. He'll talk about the geology and the features on the moon. It's going to be an exciting night. To coin a phrase about a quarter moon? Okay, no, that wasn't a good joke anyway. So come now on next Friday, that will be Friday the 28th, to hear Robert Reeves talk about the moon. He's given a talk to several locations across the planet in different nations, so you've got to come early so you can get a front seat. Friday, that will be Friday the 28th, to hear Robert Reeves talk about the moon. He's given the fourth Friday of, every Saturday, I should say, the Texas Astronomical Society has star parties that are located throughout the Metroplex. On the first Saturday is the Stargazer Star Party in Spring Park in Garland. The next one will happen is March the 7th. The Frisco Starfest happens in Frisco Commons Park in Frisco. The next date for that is March the 14th. Cedar Hill Starbolt is at J.W. Williams Park in Cedar Hill. That next one will be on March the 21st. And tonight should have been Stars on the Rock in the Shores Park in Rockwall, but I'm pretty sure that was canceled due to the clouds. The next one will be a month from now. Okay, let's see now. I think I've got everything covered. If you want more details about information regarding to the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas, go to their texasastro.org website for details. Does anybody need any fills or have any questions about the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas? Come now. Regarding to the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas, go to their texasastro.org website for details. Does anybody need any fills or have any questions about the Texas Astronomical Society? Right, hearing nothing, I'll give it back to you, Billy. This is your net. Right, hearing nothing, I'll give it back to you, Billy.
Great, thank you very much.
This is your net.
Next up, we have National Space Society events and activities. So at this time, I'll return to Bill, N5DB, if you'll give us announcements on the National Space Society. Great, thank you very much. Next up, we have National Space Society events.
This is N5DB. The National Space Society North Texas chapter meets on the second Sunday of every month at 3 p.m. in Irving at the Spring Creek Barbecue on the southwest corner of Highway 183 and Beltline, not too far from the south entrance of DFW Airport. I'm not sure the topic for the next meeting. I just forgot. But the next meeting will be on Sunday, March the 8th, starting at 3:30. Did I say 3? I meant 3:30. Starting at 3:30 p.m. The National Space Society of North Texas supported the Dallas Regional Science and Engineering Fair at Fair, and I was one of the 4 judges, and I saw Billy there because she was judging for a McKinney Amateur Radio Club event, and we gave away $1,000 in 3 prizes. The first prize was $500 for the Science Fair project, which was reconfigurable robots with inertial control. This is really pretty cool. He had a LiPo batteries and a little tiny, I believe it was 15 millimeters on a side cube. This is really pretty cool. And he had a motor and a flywheel. And by energizing the motor, he could spin it up, and then he could stop it very suddenly, and the inertia transferred to the torqued it, and could cause the little robotic thing to climb up on top of another one. So these robots could climb on top of each other. And they had especially, it's hard for me to describe over the radio, magnets on the corners so they would stick to each other. So it was really a very cool project he figured out. That was number 1, our $500 prize. Our number 2 prize for $300 was for a deep learning system looking for exoplanets. This is using neural networks. These kids are smart today. They do all kinds of things that we hear about, and they're doing it. So that was pretty cool. And our third place $200 prize, Martian agriculture, where they had a vacuum pump and some gases and a container, and they put soil, simulating Martian soil in it. And they plants in it to see how well they would grow. Anyway, very cool, nerdy things. There were over 750 science fair booths at Fair Park, Centennial Building today. It was huge. Over 750 science fair projects. Crazy. That's all I got inside BB. Fair Park, Centennial Building today. It was huge.
Great, thank you, Bill. Yeah, there were an impressive array of projects, very imaginative and creative youngsters out there. So, who knows, those are going to be our future scientists and researchers. So, look to see a lot more from those young folks. So it's always a treat every year. All right, next up is NCS topic of the evening. So tonight I decided to talk about Leap Day since next Saturday is Leap Day. We actually have this is a leap year. So I thought I'd go ahead and share some information that I found. There was an article written on February 20th, 2020, so I thought that was kind of cool, 2/20/2020, on History.com. Written by Stephen Wood, so I wanted to share his article entitled 5 Things You May Not Know About Leap Day. So the extra day tacked on to every 4th year is a subtle admission that even something as regular and simple as a calendar can be more complicated than we think. Years, we add an extra day to the calendar in the form of February 29th, also known as Leap Day. Put simply, these additional 24 hours are built into the calendar to ensure that it stays in line with the Earth's movement around the sun. While the modern calendar contains 365 days, the actual time it takes for Earth to orbit the star is slightly longer, roughly 365.2421 days. The difference may seem negligible, but over decades and centuries, that missing quarter of a day per year can add up. To ensure consistency with the true astronomical year, it's necessary to periodically add in an extra day to make up the lost time and get the calendar back in sync with the heavens. So, item number 1, many ancient calendars had entire leap months. Many calendars, including the Hebrew, Chinese, and Buddhist calendars, are lunisolar, meaning their dates indicate the position of the moon as well as the position of the Earth relative to the sun. Since there is a natural gap of roughly 11 days between a year as measured by lunar cycles and one measured by the Earth's orbit, such calendars periodically require the addition of extra months, known as intercalary or interstitial months, to keep them on track. Intercalary months, however, were not necessarily regular. Historians are still unclear as to how the early Romans kept track of their years, mostly because the Romans themselves may not have been entirely sure. It appears that the early Roman calendar consisted of 10 months, plus an ill-defined winter period, the varying length of which caused the calendar to become unpegged from the solar year. Uncertain stretch of time was replaced by the new months of January and February, but the situation remained complicated. They employed a 23-day intercalary month known as Mercedonius to account for the difference between their year and the solar year, inserting it not between months, but within the month of February for reasons that may have been related to lunar cycles. To make matters even more confusing, the decision of when to hold Mercedonius often fell to the consuls, who used their ability to shorten or extend the year to their own political ends. As a result, by the time of Julius Caesar, the Roman year and the solar year were thoroughly out of sync.
Recheck.
As a result, by the time of Julius Caesar, the Roman year and the solar year were thoroughly out of sync. Sorry, I didn't hear the call sign. Who is the recheck? So please come now with your call sign.
5SQA recheck.
Sorry, I didn't hear the call sign. Who is the recheck? N5SQA, go ahead.
I was hoping to get a fill from N5BB.
N5SQA, go ahead. Okay, let's go ahead and take care of this, and then I will finish my presentation. So N5BB, if you'll talk with N5SQA direct to get the fill, and then I will return to my report. Okay, let's go ahead and take care of this, and then I will finish my presentation.
Hey, Bill, you talked about one of the projects robot had, excuse me, rotating magnet, and then you said something about rotating cube, and then magnets in the corner. I want to be clear, were the magnets in the corner of the rotating cube? And then that's question one. And question two is, were they rare earth magnets, or were they electromagnets? N5SQA.
They were not electromagnets. They were permanent magnets, but they were very special magnets. If you have a cylinder, if you just buy a cylindric magnet, normally it's got the north and south poles on opposite ends, so the flat faces are the north and south poles. But these magnets were little cylinders which were transverse, so the north and south poles were across the magnet, not longitudinal but radial. And they're very special. And he put them in a little aluminum tube. And this means that when there were four of these tubes, one on every side edge, I should say, on the going around it. And so when these things stacked up, they would always, the magnets could rotate in the aluminum tubes, so they would always stick against each other. If you had to see it to understand it, but it was a very ingenious way that these little cubes stuck to each other. Very smart kids, N5BB.
Hey, you answered my question. Yes, it's very ingenious. I'm sorry I didn't get to see it. Time to explain the details to me. That answers my question. N5SQA clear. Hey, you answered my question. Yes, it's very ingenious. I'm sorry I didn't get to see it.
Okay, I'm glad we cleared that up. Next, let me leap back into my presentation on Leap Day. So where we left off, at the time of Julius Caesar's reign, the Roman year and the solar year were thoroughly out of sync. So item number 2, Julius Caesar introduced Leap Day with the help from the Egyptians. The Mercedonius when we feel like it system apparently irked Caesar, the general turned consul turned dictator of Rome, who drastically altered the course of European history. In addition to conquering Gaul and transforming Rome from a republic into an empire, Caesar reordered the Roman calendar, giving us the blueprint off of which much of the world still operates to this day. During his time in Egypt, Caesar became convinced of the superiority of the Egyptian solar calendar, which featured 365 days and an occasional intercalary month, which was inserted when astronomers observed the correct conditions in the stars. Caesar and the philosopher Sosigenes of Alexandria made one important modification. Instead of relying on the stars, they would simply add a day to every fourth year. In keeping with the Roman tradition of messing with the length of February, that day would fall in the second month of the year. Thus, Leap Day was born. Caesar added 2 extra long months to the year 46 BCE to make up for missed intercalations, and the Julian calendar took effect on January 1st, 45 BCE. Caesar added 2 extra long months to the year 46 BCE to make up for missed. By the 16th century, the calendar took effect on January 1st, 45 BCE. Sky flipping. The 5 days was close, but it still overestimated the solar year by 11 minutes. This was a problem for the Catholic Church, as the date of Easter had drifted away from its traditional place, and the first Sunday after the first full moon following the vernal equinox by roughly 10 days. Pope Gregory XIII commissioned a modified calendar, one which kept leap day but accounted for the inaccuracy by eliminating it on centurial years not divisible by 400. For instance, 1700, 1800, and 1900 were not leap years, but 2000 was. The introduction of the Gregorian calendar marked the last change to the Western calendar as we know it today. Experts note that the Gregorian calculation of a solar year, 365.2425 days, is still not perfect, and thus another correction will be necessary. Thankfully, the Gregorian calendar is only off by about 1 day every 3,030 years, so mankind has some time before this becomes a problem. And thus another correction will be necessary. Item number 4, leap day is often associated with marriage, proposals, and flipping gender roles. Curiously, many leap day customs have revolved around romance and marriage. Tradition holds that in the 5th century Ireland, St. Bridget lamented to St. Patrick that women were not allowed to propose marriage to men. So legend has it that St. Patrick designated the only day that does not occur annually, February 29th, as a day on which women would be allowed to propose to men. In some places, leap day is Bachelor's Day. Designated the only day that does not occur annually, February 29th, as a day on which women would be the Irish slip. A man in a woman's proposal, he owed her a debt of several pairs of fine gloves, perhaps to hide the fact that she did not have an engagement ring. In Greek tradition, however, it is considered bad luck to marry on leap day, and statistics suggest that Greek couples continue to take this superstition seriously. And lastly, item 5, people born on leap day are called leaplings. There are only about 5 million people in the whole world who were born on February 29th, with the odds of being born on leap day standing at about 1 in 1,461. Several famous people, including actress and singer Dinah Shore, born 1916, motivational speaker Tony Robbins, born in 1960, and the hip-hop artist Ja Rule, born in 1976, are all leaplings. Leaplings technically only get to celebrate their birthdays once every 4 years, but they do get to be part of an elite group. So there's my report on Leap Day. Do we have any leaplings on the air? If so, if anyone would like to share, I would love to have your insight on what it's like to have a Leap Day birthday. So if there are any leaplings on the air on frequency that you wish to share, please come now with your call sign. If so, if anyone would like to share, I would love to have your insight on what it's like to have a Leap Day birthday. So if there are any leaplings on the air on frequency that you wish to share, please come now with your call sign. Not hearing any, so if there are some leaplings out there that are just staying incognito, that's all right. If you know anybody that has a Leap Day birthday, not hearing any, so if there are some leaplings out there that are just especially their Leap Day birthday. All right. Next up, we have, let me roll it over to Tom, KE5ICX. If you'll check and see if we have any more check-ins, and then if you would pass it on to Kelly for space exploration and space history. This is KF5PDS to KE5ICX. Let me roll it over to Tom, KE5ICX. If you'll check and see if we have any more check-ins, and then if you would pass it on to Kelly.
Thank you, Miss Billy, and thanks for a very interesting article. I thought that was really good, and bringing it to the net this evening. This is KE5ICX. I am alternate at control this evening. I'll take additional check-ins. If you have not checked in and would like to do so, you can come now with your call sign, your name, and where you're transmitting from. And so up, K5KOB, I got you checked in. So please come now with your call sign phonetically, your name, and where you're transmitting from.
November 5, Oscar Foxtrot, Clay, and Mesquite.
So please come now with your
5, Juliet, Delta Whiskey, John in Coppell.
Oscar Foxtrot, Clay, and Mesquite.
So 5, Juliet, Delta Whiskey, John in Coppell.
Hey, got two more. N50F, Clay over in Mesquite, welcome back. And K5JDW, John in his southern home here in Coppell. I've got you checked in. K5KTX. N50F, Clay over in Mesquite, welcome back. And K5JDW, John in his southern home here in Coppell. I've got you checked in.
Is K5KTX. Good evening, everyone. Surrounded by California desert, NASA officials broke ground Tuesday, February the 11th, on a new antenna for communicating with the agency's farthest-flung robotic spacecraft. Part of the Deep Space Network, or DSN, the 112-foot wide or 34-meter wide antenna dish being built represents a future in which more missions will require advanced technology, such as lasers capable of transmitting vast amounts of data from astronauts on the Martian surface. As a part of its Artemis program, NASA will send the first woman and next man to the moon by 2024, applying lessons learned there to send astronauts to Mars. Capable of transmitting vast amounts of data from astronauts on the Martian surface. As a part of its massive antenna dishes, the agency talks to more than 30 deep space missions on any given day, including many international missions. As more missions have launched and with more in the works, NASA is looking to strengthen the network. When completed in 2.5 years, the new dish will be christened Deep Space Station 23, or DSS-23, bringing the DSN's number of operational antennas to 13. Since the 1960s, when the world first watched live pictures of humans in space and on the moon, to revealing imagery and scientific data from the surface of Mars and vast distant galaxies, the Deep Space Network has connected humankind with our solar system and beyond, said Badri Yunus, NASA's Deputy Associate Administrator for Space Communications and Navigation, or SCAN, which oversees NASA's networks. He goes on to say this new network, the fifth of 6 currently planned, is another example of NASA's determination to enable science and space exploration and navigation, or technology. Oversees NASA's networks. He goes on to say this new network, the fifth of 6 currently planned, is another example of NASA's determination to enable NASA's JEPA, the world's largest and busiest deep space network, is 3 locations: Goldstone, California, Madrid, Spain, and Canberra, Australia, that are positioned approximately 120 degrees apart around the globe to enable continual contact with spacecraft as the Earth rotates. There is a live online tool at eyes.nasa.gov/DSN that lets viewers see which DSN networks are sending up commands or receiving data at any given time. And it is one of my favorite apps that I have on my phone. It's really fun to watch. /DSN that lets viewers see which DSN. First edition to Goldstone since 2003, the new dish is being built at the complex's Apollo site, so named because its DSS-16 antenna supported NASA's human missions to the moon. Similar antennas have been built in recent years in Canberra, while two are under construction in Madrid. JPL Deputy Director Larry James said the DSN is Earth's one phone line to our 2 Voyager spacecraft, both in interstellar space. All our Mars missions and the New Horizons spacecraft that is now far past Pluto. The more we explore antennas we need to talk to all of our missions. The DSN is Earth's one phone line to our 2 Voyager spacecraft, both in interstellar space. While DSS-23 will function as a radio antenna, it will also be equipped with mirrors and a special receiver for lasers beamed from distant spacecraft. This technology is critical for sending astronauts to places like Mars. Humans there will need to communicate with Earth more than NASA's robotic explorers do, and a Mars base with its life support systems and equipment from distant spacecraft that needs to be monitored. Lasers increase your data rate from about 10 times what you get from more than NASA's robotic rate. Director of the Interplanet, the organization that manages the DSN. She says, our hope is that providing a platform for optical communications will encourage other space explorers to experiment with lasers on future missions. Director of the While clouds can disrupt lasers, Goldstone's clear desert skies make it an ideal location to serve as a laser receiver about 60% of the time. A demonstration of DSS-23's capabilities is around the corner. When NASA launches an orbiter called Psyche to a metallic asteroid in a few years, it will carry an experimental laser communications terminal developed by JPL. Called the Deep Space Optical Communications Project, this equipment will send data and images to an observatory at Southern California's Palomar Mountain. But Psyche will also be able to communicate with the new Goldstone antenna, paving the way for higher data rates in deep space. This equipment will send data and images to an observatory at Southern California's Palomar Mountain. And in space history this week, starting with February the 16th back in 1948, while examining a series of telescopic photos at Texas McDonald's Observatory, Dutch astronomer Gerard Kuiper discovered a new moon in orbit around the planet Uranus. Dubbed Miranda, after the daughter of Prospero in William Shakespeare's The Tempest, it was the last moon of Uranus to be discovered until Voyager 2 made a close flyby of the planet nearly 40 years later in 1986. Voyager 2 is the only space probe so far to have made a flyby of Uranus. Miranda is most notable for its incredibly varied and inconsistent terrain, featuring collections of ridges, valleys, and giant fault canyons that 1986. Voyager 2 is then the Grand Canyon so far to have made a flyby of Uranus. Miranda is most notable for its incredibly varied and inconsistent terrain. Not agreed upon, the collections of ridges and haphazardly reassembled, while others suggest that meteorite strikes triggered a cycle of subsurface ice melting and refreezing. On February the 17th, 1973, President Richard M. Nixon signed a Senate resolution designated the Manned Spacecraft Center, MSC, in Houston as the Lyndon B. Johnson Space Center. On February the 17th, 1973, President Richard M. Nixon signed a... February the 18th, back in 1930, American astronomer Clyde Tombaugh discovered Pluto, which is still a planet. Clyde took an early interest in astronomy, building his own telescope before his 20th birthday. The detailed observations he made got him a job offer with the Lowell Observatory as a junior astronomer. There, it was Clyde's job to photograph a small piece of the sky at a time and then examine each photo in an effort to detect the planet X that astronomer Percival Lowell had predicted beyond Neptune. After 10 months, Clyde discovered the object he would name Pluto. Pluto was considered the 9th planet of our solar system until 2006, when it was reclassified as a dwarf planet by the awful International Astronomical Union. Oh, oops, sorry, didn't mean to say that. To honor Tombaugh, some of his cremated remains were carried along on the New Horizons spacecraft on the long Pluto. They continued to travel with New Horizons out into the Kuiper Belt. And if you've never been to the Lowell Observatory in Flagstaff, Arizona, I really highly recommend it. It's a beautiful, beautiful campus, and you can still see the telescope there that he used to discover Pluto with. With New Horizons out into the Kuiper Belt. And if you've never been to the Lowell Observatory in Flagstaff, Arizona, I really highly recommend it. It's a beautiful way back in 1473, famed astronomer there that he used to discover Pluto with. Astronomer was born in pole-centric model of the universe, which placed the sun, rather than the Earth, at the center. Like many great scientific insights, the heliocentric model was a powerfully simple tool based on data, rather than trying to fit the evidence to some preconceived notion that required extremely complex explanations. While his model went widely unrecognized by his peers, it would, in the generations to come, provide a foundation on which astronomers, such as Johannes Kepler and Galileo Galilei, built their work. That required extremely complex explanations. While his model went widely unrecognized by his peers, it would, in the generations to come, provide a foundation. AM Eastern Standard Time, astronaut John Glenn launched in Friendship 7 on Mercury Atlas 6. He was the first American to orbit the Earth. After the planned 3 orbits, and with some worry about whether his heat shield was in the proper place, Glenn splashed down near Grand Turk Island in the Caribbean. That summer, Friendship 7 went around the world again on a 30-city tour. The capsule was seen in person by about 4 million people in Europe, Africa, Asia, and the Americas over the course of 3 months. A year after the launch, Friendship 7 landed at the National Air and Space Museum, Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C., where it can still be seen today. 4 million people in Europe, Africa, Asia, and the Americas over the course of 3 months. On February the 21st in 2007, it was announced that NASA's Spitzer Space Telescope had captured enough light from exoplanets to identify molecular signatures in their atmospheres. Spitzer obtained the spectra for 2 exoplanets, HD 189733b, which resides in the Vulpecula. Enough light from exoplanets 70 trillion miles away, and Spitzer obtained the spectra for 2 HD 189733b, which resides in the. These planets are known as hot Jupiters because, like Jupiter, they are gas giants, but they orbit much closer to their respective stars, making them much hotter than the gas giants in our solar system. Scientists were surprised to find that the data indicated that the planets were much cloudier and drier than predicted. The use of Spitzer spectrograph to identify molecules in the atmosphere of a planet so far away was a major achievement. It was also a significant step toward being able to detect signs of life on other planets. Drier than predicted. The use of Spitzer spectrograph to identify molecules in the atmosphere. And finally, on February the 22nd, 2006, the Hubble Space Telescope discovered 2 new moons of Pluto, which was confirmed. The first evidence of the moons came in observations in mid-2005, but it took follow-up observations in mid-February 2006 to confirm the findings. Astronomers using Hubble's Advanced Camera for Surveys found that the newly discovered moons, later named Nix and Hydra, were the same plane as the already known and much larger moon Charon. This finding added evidence for the theory that the moons of Pluto were born from a collision between 2 Pluto-sized objects over 4 billion years ago. In 2011, a 4th moon of Pluto, Kerberos, was announced, and then in 2012, a 5th one was discovered and named Styx. And that's all I've got this evening. Back to you, Billy. This is K5KTX. Years ago, in 2011, a 4th moon of Pluto, Kerberos, was announced, and then in 2012...
Hey, thank you, Kelly, for bringing those super interesting items of history. This is KF5TDS, Billy, your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. All right, next I will turn the net over to today. Super interesting items of history. This is KF5TDS. Heads up. So this is a session of the DARC Skynet. All right, next I will turn the net over to
Good evening, everyone. This is Chaz, KF5JHA. My degree's in astrophysics, and I work at Brookhaven Community College. We call this segment of Skynet Was Up. Kelly, I agree with you. Pluto is still a planet. Remember that Skynet is not only available on the Talos repeater 146.88 megahertz with a private line tone of 110.9, but also available to hams across the world on Echolink. Most weeks, the Skynet also has a video component. I'm watching it right now. Oh, that's my screen I gave to Tom quite a bit ago. Okay, there it is. But also available to hams across the world on Echolink. Find these video links on w5fc.org website. So, with radio, Echolink, and video, I say the Skynet is in 3D. But our friend Tony, that you heard from earlier tonight, NT5TM, says we're in 4D because we use the dimension of time. By the way, what goes on in the chat window and Echolink might have nothing to do with what's going on the video or what's happening on the air. So, to get the full 3D, or rather 4D version of Skynet, you must be monitoring all 3 areas at the same time. Nothing to do with what's going on the video or what's happening on the air. So, to get the full 3D, or rather 4D version... Kelly, I'm watching over here in Echolink. Alan Stern is a very stern supporter of Pluto still being a planet. Tonight, the sunset was at 6:18. Kelly, I'm watching over here in Echolink. And at 6:45, if it had supporter of Pluto in horizon, not really visible to see around then, and so it's easy to spot. This is about halfway up in the southwestern evening sky. In horizon, not really visible. February 27th, Venus will be just a few degrees away from the moon, just to the right of the moon in the afternoon and evening sky. This would be a great time to try to spot Venus in the daytime, before sunset. Around or before 6 p.m., you could start looking for the thin crescent moon on February 27th, about 45 degrees above the southwestern horizon. If you have binoculars, you can use them to find the moon. Just be careful not to look at the sun through the binoculars. After finding the moon in binoculars, can you spot it with just your two eyes? Now, going back to the binoculars, you can scan from the moon just slightly to the right to find Venus. Once again, be very careful not to look at the sun through your binoculars. And after you find it in binoculars, you can find Venus maybe with your two eyes? I hope so. This might take some practice. Once again, be very careful not to look at the sun through your binoculars. And after you find it in binoculars, you can find the moon is new on February 23rd. That would be tomorrow. The moon will be at apogee on February 26th at a distance of 406,278 kilometers. The moon will be at its first quarter on March the 2nd, and the moon will be full on March the 9th. And that reminds me, do you know what holds the moon up in the sky? 406,278 kilometers. Of course you do. It's moonbeams. The 2nd, and the moon will be full on March the 9th. And that reminds me. Is that laughing I hear or groaning? Anyway, this is KF5, JHA, and this is Skynet. The moon occulted the planet Mars early on the morning, that would be Tuesday morning, February the 18th. We do not see it here in North Texas because of the clouds. The next planetary occultation observable from North Texas will be on December the planet when the moon occults Venus. I'll talk about that more when we get to it, probably in November. Texas because of the clouds. The next planetary occultation observable from North Texas will be on December the planet when the moon occults. If you get up around 6 a.m. Central Standard Time tomorrow morning, or sometime over the next week, you'll be able to see a treat of 3 visible planets in the early morning sky. I mentioned Mars just a few moments ago. It's in the constellation of Sagittarius. Below and to the left, you can find the much brighter planet Jupiter, and below and to the left of Jupiter, you can find the fainter Saturn. Both Saturn and Jupiter are also located in the constellation of Sagittarius. Below and to the left, you can find the much brighter planet Jupiter. Now, last week, I talked about an asteroid, 2002 PZ39, also known as number 163373, coming within 306 million miles of the Earth. It was in the news, again, maybe because it was a half a kilometer in size. What I did not know at that time was that there was an asteroid, 2020 CQ2, came within 153,000 kilometers. Millions of miles, but only 153 kilometers of us. That's closer to the moon than us, than we are from the moon. Even though that asteroid was only about 7 meters inside, it would have made a very bad day for lots of people if it had hit the Earth. And just early yesterday morning, I'm talking about Friday morning, a small asteroid entered the Earth over the Dominican Republic. The brilliant fireball was captured by many cameras, even in Puerto Rico. Meteorite fragments may be found over the next few days. For up-to-date information about asteroid encounters, you can check out the website spaceweather.com. Up-to-date information about asteroid encounters, you can check out the website. Earlier this evening, I was able to find Betelgeuse, even through some clouds. It's still dimming. Several astronomers feel that if Betelgeuse does not start brightening by the by the beginning of March, it may be going supernova soon. Another explanation is a cloud of its own dust is in the way. If it does go supernova, we should easily be able to see it in the daytime sky. Only time will tell. Another explanation is a cloud of its own dust is in the way. Forget that the Texas Astronomical Society has telescopes set up somewhere in the Metroplex almost every Saturday night. You can check their website for texasastro.org for details. And another reminder, Robert Reeves will be the featured speaker, Mr. Moon, on February 28th, that's just 6 days from now, at the meeting of the Texas Astronomical Society of texasastro.org on the University of Texas UTD campus on Campbell Road. Mr. Moon on February 28th, that's just 6 days from now. Geology and all his own pictures that he's taken. Do any of you out there in Radio Land have any questions or need a fill on any of the information? Or do you have just a general astronomy question? I don't know everything, but I may know the answer to your question. Come now with your call sign if you have a question. Do any of you out there in Radio Land have any questions or need a fill on
KG5P. With question.
Astronomy question. I don't know everything, but I may know the answer to your question. Come now with your call sign if you have a question. Very much, Mike. Thanks for not letting me down. Come now with your question.
As my question is, how does the solar system take its medication? How does the solar system take its medication? As my question is,
oh, I am really not sure, but I'm sure you will tell us. Mike, please fill us in on the answer to your question.
Yes, very good, Chad. I usually have the answer ahead of me, but in this case, I will enlighten us all. Intravenously. Back to net, KG5P. Very good, Chad. I usually have the answer ahead of me, but in this case, I will enlighten.
Did plan it that way, didn't you? So, as the moon is waning today, so do these words. Until next time, keep looking up so you know what's up. And this is Chaz, KF5JHA. Back to our net control Billy, KF5P. That way, didn't you? So, as the moon is waning today, so do these words. Until next time, keep looking up so you know what's up. And this is Chaz, KF5JHA. Back to our net control
This is KF5PDS, Billy, your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. All right, next up is Miss Carolyn, Constellation of the Month / Topic of the Week. I believe Mike is wrapping up a topic that he's been discussing, so at this time I will turn the net over to Mike, KG5P. Go ahead with your topic of the week. All right, next up is Miss Carolyn, Constellation of the Month / Topic of the Week.
Goodness gracious, stand by a second here. My computer shut down and I got to reopen my Google Docs here. Goodness gracious, stand by a second. We'll probably do a consolation of the month next month, being the first month of, or the first day of March, or actually it'll be the last day of February. So I want to continue with what we talked about space junk. There's a preponderance of space junk collecting in near Earth orbit. And we talked about how this was being tracked, and one of the solutions is to put license plates on there that will continue to send out tracking signals, even though the satellite itself is stopped operating and had been retired. And these can even be carried by these little CubeSats. Now, one of the other things that satellites do, and SpaceX is setting up their Skylink project, and had been retired. And these things tend to reflect an awful lot of light. Now, satellites do, and SpaceX is setting up guys for us. Others will definitely ruin it for the professional astronomers. Now, supposedly they're working on a solution, but that's yet to be seen. Okay. Now, one of the things that happens is when the rockets launch satellites into orbit, they typically burn out all their fuel at once. However, filling rockets with a type of fuel that can be repeatedly reignited could give ground operators yet another option for keeping satellites safe from space crashes. However, at Los Alamos Research Laboratory, Nick Dahlman said that what we're working on here at Los Alamos is to make a solid rocket, one that uses solid fuel, that is, where you can start it, stop it, then restart it again. And being able to reignite a rocket's fuel even after a satellite achieves orbit could enable space hardware to shift course in order to avoid a potential collision. Of course, when they collide, then you get all kinds of miscellaneous debris that's even too hard to track. So, he goes on to say, we've been maturing the concept in which our rocket is a payload integrated into a satellite. Potentially, many years after the satellite is separated from the launch vehicle's upper stage, our payload may be called upon to perform an emergency orbital debris avoidance maneuver. Since the 1960s, scientists have known that rapidly decompressing the combustion chamber in a solid fuel rocket could extinguish the burn after ignition. And his colleagues, the challenge was to create a reusable ignition system combined with a mechanism to rapidly decompress the fuel chamber. Another challenge was how to reignite the fuel, as igniters are typically destroyed by the first burn. Okay, to solve that, the scientists decided not to use conventional pyrotechnic igniters. Instead, they experimented with separating water into hydrogen and oxygen within the combustion chamber and then reigniting them using an electrode to generate a spark. Then the researchers extinguished the burn through decompression. So he sums up by saying, we've been able to develop this to the point where we can perform multiple burns sequentially in a small rocket. Next steps will include tests in orbit, where we would perform multiple burns on orbit or a CubeSat. So that concludes this topic. Next week we'll have something else. So back to net, KG5P. Next steps will include tests in orbit, where we would perform multiple burns.
Great, thanks, Mike. All right, we're starting to run a little bit low on time, so I'm going to skip a few things. But I just want to let you know, space launches for this week. If you wish to check out spacecoastlaunches.com, you can look at their launch list. Again, that's spacecoastlaunches.com. And also you can check out the launch schedule for Spaceflight Now by going to spaceflightnow.com and check out their launch schedule. So again, spacecoastlaunches.com and spaceflightnow.com. Also, probably won't have time for visible satellite passages, so you can go to heavens-above.com website to see what's in orbit and where to look during flyovers. Again, that's also probably won't have hev.com. At this time, I'm going to turn the net over for recent astronomical discoveries to Brenda, WB50ZL. The net is yours. What's in orbit and where to look during flyovers. Again, that's also probably won't have hev.com.
Thanks, Billy. This is WB50ZL. This article is entitled, Earth Formed Much Faster Than Previously Thought, New Study Shows. The precursor of our planet, the proto-Earth, formed within a time span of approximately 5 billion years, shows a new study from the Center for Star and Planet Formation. It's called StarPlan, at the Globe Institute at the University of Copenhagen. On an astronomical scale, this is extremely fast, the researchers explain. If you compare the solar system's estimated 4.6 billion years of existence within a 24-hour period, the new results indicate that a proto-Earth formed in what corresponds to about a minute and a half. That's the result of the star plan break. They break with the traditional theory that the proto-Earth formed by random collisions between larger and larger planetary bodies through several tens of millions of years, equivalent to about 5 to 15 minutes out of the above mentioned fictional 24 hours of formation. Instead, the new results support a more recent alternative theory about the formation of planets through the accretion of cosmic dust. The study's lead author, Associate Professor Martin Schiller, explains it as follows. The new results support a more recent alternative theory. The other idea is that we start from dust, essentially. Millimeter-sized objects, lead author, Associate Professor Martin, on the growing body, and making the planet in the other idea is that we start from dust, essentially. One, not only are the rapid formation of the Earth interesting for our solar system, it's also interesting to assess how likely it is for planets to form somewhere else in the galaxy. The key to the new finding came in the form of the most precise measurements of iron isotopes that have so far been published scientifically. By studying the isotopic mixture of the metallic element in different meteorites, the researchers found only one type of meteoritic material with a composition similar to Earth, the so-called Cl chondrites. The researchers behind the study described the dust in this fragile type of meteorite as our best equivalent to the bulk composition of the solar system itself. It was dust like this combined with gas that was a circumstellar accretion disk onto the growing sun. This process lasted about 5 million years, and our planets were made from material in this disk. Now the researchers estimate that the proto-Earth's barest core also formed already during this period, removing early accreted iron from the mantle. Our planets were made from material in this disk. Now the researchers estimate that the proto-Earth's barest other meteorites, for example from Mars, tell us that at the beginning of the iron isotopic composition of material contributing to the growing Earth was different. Most likely due to thermal processing of dust close to the young sun, the researchers from StarPlan explain. After our solar system's first few hundred thousands contributing to the growing Earth, it became cold enough for unprocessed Cl dust from further out in the system to enter the accretion region of the proto-Earth. This added Cl dust overprinted the iron composition of the Earth's mantle, which is only possible if most of the previous iron was already removed into the core. That is why the core formation must have happened early, Martin Schiller explains. If the Earth's formation was a random process, where you just smashed bodies together, you would never be able to compare the iron composition of the Earth to one type of meteorite. You would get a mixture of everything he adds. Based on the evidence for the theory that planets form through the accretion of cosmic dust, researchers believe that the same process may occur elsewhere in the universe. This means that also other planets may likely form much faster than if they grow solely from random collisions between objects in space. This assumption is corroborated by the thousands of exoplanets, planets in other galaxies that astronomers have discovered since the mid-90s, explains Center leader and co-author of the study, Professor Martin Bizzarro. Now we know that planet formation happens everywhere, that we have generic mechanisms that work and make planetary systems. When we understand these mechanisms in our own solar system, we might make similar inferences about the other planetary systems in the galaxy, including at which point and how often water is accreted, he says, adding, if the theory of early planetary accretion really is correct, water is likely just a byproduct of the formation of a planet like Earth, making the ingredients of life as we know it more likely to be found elsewhere in the universe. From ScienceDaily.com, back to Nat, WB5OZL. Making the ingredients of life as we know it more likely to be found elsewhere.
Great, thanks very much, Brenda. That's a really interesting article. This is KF5PDS, Billy, your net control for the session of the DARC Skynet. At this time, I'm going to turn the net over to my alternate net control, Tom, KE5ICX, If you'll see about final check-ins and get me a final count for this evening's net, I'd appreciate it. This is KF5PDS to KE5ICX. KE5ICX. If you'll see about final check-ins and get me a final count for this evening's net, I'd appreciate it. This is
Okay, let's see. This is KE5ICX. I'll take any final check-ins. Anyone who would like to join us this evening to say you were out there listening, please come with your call sign, your name, and where you're transmitting from. Let's see. This is KE5ICX. I'll take any final check-ins. Anyone who would like to join us this evening to say you were out there.
5 Echo Bravo Bravo. David from a nearby exoplanet. Echo Bravo Bravo. David from a nearby exoplanet.
One final check-in. We got W5EVV, David on an exoplanet somewhere. Okay, that makes 33 check-ins. Back to net control. This is KE5ICX.
Copy that we had tonight. We had 33 hands participating on the air. So thank you to all who checked in this evening. We hope you'll join us here next week and every Saturday night at 9 p.m. to discuss astronomy, space, and space exploration. On this net, the sky is never the limit. We're also looking for net control every Saturday night at 9 p.m. to their DARC nets. If you'd like to try your hand at this, contact any of the net controls by sending an email to nets@w5f.com. You can follow topics and discussion about this net and astronomy in general on Facebook and Twitter, as well as our audio and video streams, video archives, and other useful internet resources by going to w5fc.org at the conclusion of this net. So until next Saturday night, this is KF5PDS, Billy, and I'll be closing the net at 22:29 local time and returning the repeater to normal amateur use. 73, everybody, and enjoy the evening discovering the universe. And don't forget, following this net is the Afterglow movie net. 73, everybody. And returning the repeater to normal amateur use. 73, everybody, and enjoy the evening discovering the universe. And don't forget, following this net is the Afterglow movie net. 73, everybody.
Come back in about 5 minutes for Ghosts of Mars or Nude on the Moon. It doesn't matter which one. They're different planets, different things. We'll explain later. Come back in 5 minutes. This is KE5ICX. Mars or Nude on the Moon. It doesn't matter which one. They're different planets, different things. We'll explain later. Come back in 5 minutes. This is KE5ICX.
Well. At least, at first I actually typed well, wheel, and I thought about not fixing the typo. But then I knew I'd say well, wheel to start the net, and then y'all would all be laughing at me instead of with me, like you usually do, right? That's what you usually do, isn't it, Tom? What do you mean as far as I know? Wheel to start the net, and then y'all would all be laughing at me. Anyway, it's that time again. Once more, time for me to sit down and spend a few minutes typing up something so I sound half as good as Mr. I've done it 8.234 billion nets, sometimes all in the same night, General, who reels this stuff off the top of his ex-presidential head. I'm not that good, so I have to think ahead. Sometimes all in the same night, General. If I were smarter, I'd save these little openings and reuse them after I figure it's been long enough for y'all to forget them. But apparently, I'm not that smart. Insert sad face here. Anyway, now that I rambled long enough, hopefully, for y'all to get settled and organize your thoughts for this, the one, the only, Afterglow Movie Net, I suppose I'll move on to the boilerplate. Although if you ask Google what boilerplate is, it won't list this until the third definition. Here we go. Afterglow Movie Net. As usual, tonight we'll discuss a movie, usually discussing, in theory, the plot, characterization, and special effects. That is, as usual, tonight we'll stay reasonably close, usually discussing, in theory, the plot, to the show's vacations and field day. Wait, so never mind. The last field day. Mr. Tom lets us know what movie to watch ahead of time, so that we'll have time to make notes and prepare snappy commentary for Saturday night, unless we are watching the movie Saturday night. If you're not on the notification list, then you should be. Go to Afterglow Movie, 2 words, on Facebook, and sign up. Or send an email to Tom. Yes, that's Tom, KE5ICX at yahoo.com. And he'll put you on the list. The list, I say. And you don't even have to bribe him, but it never hurts. So he tells me. And me is WT9V. There. Once again, I ID'd so the SEC is happy. I say. And you don't even have to bribe him, but it never hurts. Here's what we have on tap for tonight. Mars, 2176 AD, long colonized by human settlers. The red planet has become the manifest destiny of an overpopulated Earth. 640,000 people now live and work at far-flung outposts all over Mars, mining the planet for its abundant natural resources. But one of those mining operations has uncovered a deadly mother lode, a long-dormant Martian civilization whose warriors, now unleashed and apparently unstoppable, are systematically taking over the bodies of human intruders, bent on ridding the planet of the invaders from Earth. Now unleashed and apparently unstoppable. Lieutenant Melanie Ballard, taking over the bodies of human intruders, bent on tours on the Martian police, is on transport assignment to Lieutenant Melanie Ballard. And trust me, it's not Desolation Williams, the planet's most notorious criminal, to justice. Williams has no plans to make Ballard's job easy, and what begins as a battle of force and wits between cop and criminal soon turns into something more fundamental. A battle for human survival. Sounds really dramatic, doesn't it? It's civilization against civilization, and Shining Canyon becomes the OK Corral. 176 years into the future, as Ballard and Williams join forces in mortal combat with the ghosts of Mars. Becomes the OK Corral. 176 years into the future. Come now with your call-sign, name, location, and whether or not you saw this surprisingly fine film. This is WT9V, and I'm all ears. Name, location, and whether or not surprisingly fine film. This is
November Tango 5, Tango Mike. Tony in Dallas. I did not try to watch the movie. My comments, if any, will be very brief. November Tango 5, Tango Mike. Tony in Dallas. I did not try to watch the movie. My comments, if any, will be very brief.
To the Milton Borough of Afterglow, John West, K5JDW in Coppell. I did not see the movie, and I'm just going to be listening in the background. No need to call me. Just wanted to check in for the count. K5JDW. John West, K5.
Golf 5 Papa Mike, Rich and Rockwall, and I endured half of the movie off of the YouTube link. I just couldn't take it in. Golf 5 Papa Mike, Rich and Rockwall. Oliver picked it up again after. Rich, if I have to watch it, because did I have to watch this? Really? Never mind. Okay, continue on, everybody. Oliver picked it up again after.
Kilo Golf 5, Zombies Need Jobs. Frank in Flower Mound. I didn't really see this movie more than about 5 minutes. Kilo Golf 5, Zombies Need Jobs.
Anybody is, if I'm getting in there in between before anybody else. Zombies Need Jobs. That's a very appropriate name for this movie. Anyway, continue. Anybody is, if I'm getting in there in between before anybody else.
Kilo Golf 5, Bravo, Zulu Whiskey, Jane Weber. I did not watch the YouTube link. I watched it for 2 seconds and I realized it was going to be botched, so I actually rented it. That was okay. KG5BGW. I watched it for 2 seconds and I realized
You and Burl doubled there and missed all the first part of what you said, but I got you on the list. Did you see the film? Because I didn't get that part. You and Burl doubled there and missed all the first part of what you said, but I got you on the list.
KG5BGW. I think you were talking to me. Yeah, I saw it. I did not watch I rented it. I watched the non-botched version. Yeah, I saw it. I did not watch I rented it. I watched the non-botched version.
Bravo 5, Oscar Zulu Lima. This is Brenda in DeSoto. Yes, I saw it.
Sierra Hotel, Russ, Farmers Branch.
This is Brenda in DeSoto. Yes, I saw it.
Hey, Russ, could you come again? I missed all of your call signs.
Sierra Hotel, Russ, Farmers Branch. I have Oscar Sierra Hotel. Is that what you wanted?
Russ, could you come again? I missed all of your call signs. All I heard that time was 5 Oscar Sierra Hotel. Key up and wait about a second before you start talking.
Sierra Hotel. Is that what you wanted?
All I heard
Yes, I'm just checking in.
Oscar Sierra Hotel. Key up and wait about a second before you start talking.
Yes, I'm just checking in.
Golf 5, Zulu India X-ray. Is it my turn? Golf 5, Zulu
I think so.
Is it my turn? I wasn't sure if that last station got his whole call sign in. Yeah, KG5 ZIX. I'm new to this net, but the last one I watched was Mars Attacks, and that's a really good movie, so I'm going to have to try to keep up. KG5 ZIX. I'm new to this.
What's your name and welcome to the net?
Mars Attacks, and that's a really good movie, so I'm going to have to try to keep up. All right, KG5,
Kilo Golf 5, Zulu, India, X-Ray, Joe, and Wiley.
Welcome to the net, Joe. And who else is out there? Who else wants to play the game tonight? Welcome to the net, Joe.
F India, Mike, Sierra, JJ, and Carrollton. And no, I did not see either movie.
Whiskey 5, Echo, Bravo, Bravo, David in Dallas. I saw Ghost in the Shell and Mars Attacks, but I did not see Ghosts of Mars. W5, good evening. 5, Echo, Bravo, Bravo, David in Dallas. I saw Ghost in the Shell and Mars Attacks, but I did not see...
Kilo Echo 5, India, Charlie, X-Ray, Tom in Louisville. I didn't get to see the long version, even though I had it here, but I did get to see the 30-minute hack job they did, and I got to see Nude on the Moon. So I can talk about the second one with authority, and I can kind of comment on the first one, sort of, kind of. KE5ICX.
Am I the only person that actually watched this? I mean, if I'd known I didn't have to watch this, I wouldn't have watched this. Continue. And who else is out there? Am I the only person that actually watched this? I mean, if I'd known I didn't have to watch this, I wouldn't have watched this. Starting November, and who else is out there? You are barely holding, well, you're not really holding the repeater. Can you either increase your power or location and try again, please? You are barely holding, well, you're not. Anybody get that? Because I couldn't understand it.
Five, Juliet, Delta Whiskey.
Anybody get that? Because I couldn't understand it. You checking in, or are you saying you understood the last transmission?
Five, Juliet, Delta Whiskey. That was a directed net, but maybe we're doing informal. Yeah, basically all I heard was, I forgot what he said. I thought he said Northeast Fort Worth. I should have taken notes. K5JW, that's all I could hear.
Would you like to check in, and if so, what's your name? And, oh, wait, I already got you on there. Never mind. Thanks for that. And if the other station wants to try again, now's your time. Check in, and if so, what's your name? And, oh, wait, I already got you on there. Never mind. Thanks for that. And if the other station wants to try again, now's your time. Anybody else?
Whiskey X-Ray 5, Lima, Tango, Charlie in Plano, and I did see...
Anybody else?
Whiskey X-Ray 5, Lima, Tango...
A log here, and rest of the fine listeners tonight.
Name is going to be Alexis.
Welcome to the net. Anybody else out there? Come on. Be brave. Go ahead and tell us you didn't watch it just like everybody else except Alexis and Alexis. Welcome to the net. Anybody else out there? Come on.
Hello, India 5, Gulf Romeo Hotel. I didn't see it. It's Melissa.
I'm sorry, did you say you did or didn't? I apparently need to turn my radio up to at least 10.5.
I did not. But I just wanted to check in. And actually, I need to secure my station, too. And say goodnight to everybody. KF5, GRH.
All right, Melissa. Good night. Sleep well and all those other things. Anybody else out there want to check in?
And say good night to everybody. KF5GRH.
Kilo 5 Bravo Zulu Whiskey. I didn't have my radio on, so and you haven't been acknowledging. So I don't know. Did you check me in? Kilo 5 Bravo Zulu Whiskey.
With one eye. Okay, we got Jay on Echo Link. Anybody else on Echo Link at this point? With one eye. Okay, we got Jay on Echo Link. Anybody else on Echo Link at this point? With one eye. Tom says maybe, but anybody on Echo Link? Going once, going twice? Tom says maybe, but anybody on Echo Link? Going once? Something I forgot, and that was to get on Echo Link. Well, Tom will do it for me, because, you know, Tom's like, you know, junior net control for everybody. So, what do I have? I have, and y'all feel free to correct me, even though you won't be able to while I'm talking. NT5TM, Tony did not see. Smart, very smart, Tony. K5JGW, John, nope, just listening. Except when he's, you know, correcting things for me. Thank you very much, John. KG5PM, I believe. Rich and Rockwall saw half of it. Smart, KG5 in ZNJ, Frank, Flower Mound. These are your people, Frank. Remember, they need jobs. You told us. KF5DSK, Burl saw it. So, very few people. KG5, KG5DC, Jay, I'll remember it in a minute. Saw it. Stop laughing at me, Tom. WB5OZL, Brenda, may have seen it, not sure. I'm a little suspicious. K5OSH, Russ, possibly. KG5ZIX, Joe, and Wiley. Don't remember if you said you saw it or not. Not sure you told me. If you did, I forgot it. I'm sorry. N5IMS, JJ, Smart Man, nope. WZIX, Joe, and Wiley. Nope. You saw it or not? Not sure you told me. If you did, I forgot it. I'm sorry. N5IMS, JJ, Smart Man, nope. WX5LTC did see it, and KI5GRH has gone to bed. Make a note of that. So let's go back to Tony and see what kind of comments he has about the film he didn't see, or other films that he did. Tony, it's your turn. So let's go back to Tony and see what kind of comments he has.
Hey, you know, I actually really like Mars Attacks. I'm tickled that a few people mentioned that. It has a really fun soundtrack. I didn't watch it this week, but maybe I'll watch it soon. I did read the Wikipedia summary of Ghosts of Mars, and yep, it totally discouraged me from actually watching the movie. But I did want to mention that if you want to see someone handle the plot device well, of a sort of an evil spirit that hops from body to body, you know, you shoot it and it jumps into you, which apparently is a problem in this movie. There is a really good novel by a really good science fiction writer. The writer is Octavia Butler, like the person who, you know, waits on rich people. And the novel is called Wild Seed. Wild like a wild animal, seed like what you plant in the garden. So Wild Seed by Octavia Butler. But no, it wasn't even tempted. I know a lot of... A lot of people worked hard to see this movie, but no, not motivated. NT5TM, thank you.
I'm jealous, frankly, that I wasn't as smart as you. Actually, last night I was thinking, is this going to be the night that I don't bother to see the movie and I just wing the whole thing on the NCS, you know? Alas, no, it wasn't. I'm regretting it. After hour and 30 minutes of my life that I'm not getting back. Anyway, John, you want to make any comments, John, or you still want to stick to that just listening? Because apparently, since nobody hardly, well, very few of us actually saw the movie, we're just kind of, it's going to be an interesting night. John, or you still want to stick to that just listening? Because apparently, since nobody...
No, thanks, sir. And don't have anything to say since I haven't seen it. I'm working in the garage, and I'm listening in. And sometimes I'll do this as a Siskel and Ebert kind of thing. You know, if it sounds really good, you guys, really talk it up. I'll have to go see it, of course, but this one, maybe not so much, but you never know. Sometimes a really bad movie, is enough to make it popular. And I wish, it's one of those things, I guess, we wish more people had seen it so everybody could badmouth it or at least have something to talk about. Nope, I'm going to just be back in the background. No need to count on me or ask me anymore. Thanks. K5JDW.
Alrighty, John. I will make a note to... keeps waving things at the screen and it's distracting. I should stop paying attention to Tom. I should have stopped paying attention to Tom a long time ago. But, AG5 PM, Rich Rockwall. Tell us about the half of the movie you saw and the half of the movie you got smart with and didn't saw.
Well, I thought it was bizarre. I mean, I think setting aside the fact that it was hacked up on Amazon, which I figured out actually within the first few minutes because it was oddly short, yet I endured it, and then I thought, well, I might actually try to get a hold of a decent copy, but I couldn't find a free link. Ones I $4 to watch it. Let me check on Rotten Tomatoes, which I did, and I think they summed it up pretty well. Bad dialogue, bad acting, confusing flashbacks, and scenes that are more campy than scary. And I said, it's not worth the $4, and I think I got that from the 15 minutes off Amazon or YouTube rather. And I think, in fact, whoever put it on YouTube probably did us a favor. AG5 PM. I think I got that from the 15 minutes.
I think you may be right because Frank, this is your curtain call, Frank. 5 seconds, Frank. Take it away, Frank. From WD9V.
This is Kilo Golf 5. Zombies need jobs. Well, firstly, hello, friends. I haven't been on here in a while. This is a pretty good turnout for basically a botched video transfer, so that's surprising. So I think there was like 13 or 14 check-ins there, so maybe Tom should clip up that velvet rope, like at a bank, that velvet rope, Anyway, so it looks like, whoever uploaded this movie, I don't know if they ran it through a tunnel diode or left the notch filter on or something like that, or, maybe it's one of those, the young kids today with the attention span problems, maybe it's like those Vines videos that are like 9-second diode or left the notch filter on or something, and it's a way to watch a move a really short attention. The young kids today with the attention span, where it's just some guy who like those Vines. It's such a way to fool the algorithm on YouTube so it won't get taken off. That's probably all it is. But if you ask me, that's a real waste of perfectly good object storage. So, what a shame. So I didn't really see the movie. I just watched a little bit of it and kind of turned it off. And I would have preferred if it was something like, Total Recall. That'd be a great movie just for the one-liners. Jeez, that'd be a fun one. That's all I have. KG5ZNJ, back to you. I would have preferred if it was something like
Troy, and don't think I'm going to be spoiling it. Tom is really bored. I don't know if anybody else is watching the live stream, but Tom is really bored. I don't know. Tom has more to say about this, it seems. But last night, whenever we discovered that it was terrible at Jump Cut, and, we went and watched something else, and it was It was better than this. It was even better than the full-length version. Burl, I believe you're next, Mr. Burl. How are you? How are you doing this evening? Hope you had a good day, and I'm sorry you watched the film. It's your turn. What you got? What do you think?
This is KFI-TSK. Well, I looked at the movie and they were suggested that there was another movie called Precinct 13, which supposedly was done in the Bronx. And guess what? Ice-T was in jail in both movies. Another movie called Precinct 13. They were both Pearl, and it's the Bronx. And guess what? Ice-T was in jail. Not from this is the Bronx version, but nothing was really, spectacular. Not really much of a plot. A lot of action. Maybe the only scientific thing in it that it had Mars in the title, but there was nothing, really exciting through the whole movie. It's, I even listened to the music and it was like, well, at least it is spending money on it, I hope. KFI-TSK back to net.
Apparently, this was a huge thing. Also, the thing that destroyed James Cameron, also apparently, as Brenda mentioned at some point. Although, she styled it in the typical Brenda-ish way of saying things like, it was so good, he retired afterwards. I think actually it was so bad he was driven out of town. KG5BZWJ in near-ish, sort of close to Weatherford. One of these days I'm going to figure out what that is. Jay, this is WT9D, turning it over to you. KG5BZWJ in near-ish, sort of close to Weatherford.
This is KG5BZW near Weatherford, and yeah, I'm perfectly happy with it being near and not in. Never mind. So yeah, I watched the I saw the link were given, and I watched. So yeah, I watched the I knew I wasn't going to be able to tolerate that, but we have a net, so I went ahead and watched the I rented the full movie, and it was pretty much exactly what I expected. It was I don't know, I hadn't seen the Rotten Tomato review, which said that the flashbacks were confusing. I didn't really see anything confusing, except for they overlap so many times. It's like, okay, we've seen the scene, so they filmed it like once and then just restarted the scene, and you're supposed to follow these actors and stuff, and that was pretty annoying. Of course, I don't know who wrote this film. John Carpenter has some decent films to his name. He didn't write it, but Big Trouble in Little China and so a number of horror flicks I haven't quite seen. Anyway, I'm getting myself distracted. There's not much to this film, really. But I was entertained for the most part. Just turn your brain off and just kind of like, oh, it's a zombie movie with live action and really stupid dialogue and just, there's not much to it. And I'm sure that's what he intended, but I think there's maybe a little bit less than John really intended. But anyway, there's not much. Say more than that. There's I think there's maybe a little bit less than John really intended. But anyway, quite a few, but and of course, I won't get that. Right. That's my take. KG5 BZW back in the net. And of course, I won't get that.
Thank you, Jade. And next, it's Brenda, who will have commentary about something. Let's find out what. Brenda, this is WT9 Ring. Thank you, Jade.
Well, this is WB5OZL. The plot. Well, it was a unique idea. Ghosts on Mars are inhabiting human beings. Now, the flaw with this is, so what do? You go and kill the human being that has a ghost in it, and now the ghost jumps into another human being. So the only solution is to kill all the humans until there are none left, and then I don't know what the ghost would do, just keep on being ghosts. I don't know. But the idea that we'll just keep killing all these people so that the ghost can jump to another body, that's really a bad idea. And so you just kind of have a feeling of it being an unsatisfied feeling. I watched the other movie, Nude on the Moon. It was delightful. There were no nudes. They were not attractive. And Nude on the Moon. Delightful. There were no nudes. Reason I don't know. There's just so many things wrong with this movie, scientifically and plot-wise. But, you know, it's one of those so bad it's good. There's just so many things wrong with this movie. Tom is distracting us. If you don't watch his stream, he's got some good stuff going on there. Yeah, he's bored. Anyway, back to the movie. The music wasn't bad. There were a bunch of no-name actors in it. And when I said John Carpenter retired, that was sarcasm. He didn't, technically he retired, but it was because it was such a failure that he sort of felt like he needed to, because it was so bad. It lost money. They spent $28 million making it and took in 14. And I think the tomato meter gives it like a 20 out of 100. Very bad. All right, I'm going to turn it back. I'll have more to say later. WB5OZL.
I was really tempted to say, Tom, it's your turn, surprise! But I think I'll spread it out and let him be bored a little bit longer. K5OSH, Russ? I believe, or did you? I think you were trying to check in. Let him be bored a little bit longer. Did you? K5OSH, Russ? Here. Did you? I think you were trying to check in. Let him be bored a little bit longer. Did you? There's a no and go on to KG6 ZIX. Did I get that right? Joe and Wiley.
Yes, KG5 ZIX, Joe and Wiley. I haven't watched the movie that you guys were talking about, but I would like to offer suggestions. It's kind of, well, you could get it on Netflix, I think. Mars Attacks. Got a really bunch of cool people on that movie. Frank Zappa's daughter is one of them. And I'd be more than happy to talk about that one next week. The movie's called Mars Attacks. It's a really funny movie. Funny and cool. So I'm just offering that up for a suggestion. Kilo Golf 5, Zulu India X-Ray, Joe and Wally, clear.
Sorry about that, Joe. I got you down KG5 ZIX. Even when I am checking people in real life at the meetings, I kind of go blank whenever I'm I talk to you on the radio all the time. What's your call sign again? It's just, I don't know. There's only so much room in my brain for the little squirrels that run around in there. It's live IMS. JJ, speaking of squirrels, what do you have to say since you didn't see the movie? There's only so much room in my brain.
Let's see, considering I did not see the movie, and we are discussing,
What do you have to say since you didn't see the movie?
here's the best I can come up with. Let's see, considering I did not see the movie, and we are discussing, on Mars, and teleporting between Mars and the moon. Now, why they're teleporting, no one knows. Why they're nude, no one knows. What parts are falling off of those zombies, no one knows. Now, perchance, had I seen the movie, I may have been able to answer some of those questions. And of course, those questions may not be relevant based on the actual movie. But then again, being these are actually two movies that we're kind of mashing up together, probably none of this is valid. So I'll just turn it back to you, Michael. Enjoy. This is N5 IMS, back to net. Being these are actually two movies that we're kind of mashing up together.
Give me a second. I'm going to... Okay, well, there were actually two movies, in case that wasn't clear. But what your synopsis sounds a lot better than either one of them by themselves. Two movies, in case that wasn't clear. But what your synopsis... Okay, all right, I think I've got it. W5 EBB David, what do you have to say? Is it going to be as good as Frank's? Not Frank's, JJ's? David, I'll be over in the corner trying to compose myself. Take it away, David.
Well, since I really didn't see this movie, I'll be brief, but from what I could glean, as a general public service announcement for anyone writing a plot, if the characters go down, from what I could glean, and they come across this door, runes or hieroglyphics on or something, don't open it. Just resist the urge, don't open the door. That's just sort of a general PSA. But, how many times have we seen that, as the essential, Pandora's box is opening in a movie? I mean, that's been overdone so many times, but the lesson just has not been learned, has it? But anyway, I got nothing else. W5 EBB is opening in a movie. I mean, that's been overdone so many times. But
the lesson here is that adventurers in ancient ruins aren't real bright. K5ICX, Tom, says WT9V. I know you have all sorts of interesting things to say about one or the other of these little movies. Take it away, Tom. I know you have all sorts of interesting things to say.
Well, thank you, Michael. Oh, the dogs went back in. Well, I'm going to have to, they'll have to wait. I saw this movie. I saw 32 minutes of this movie, and it was all kind of like mashed together in a very quick thing. But it's a John Carpenter film, so how bad could it... I found the film quite boring. Even at 32 minutes, and they cut out all the dialogue. All they did was keep in all the shooting and the guys on pikes and all of that. Didn't I see that in another film? Anyway, it was quite interesting. They had the little vehicle train thing. Didn't I see that? Look, it was the 20th century. It was quite interesting. They had the little and also trialogue out, so you couldn't really figure out why they were on the train. They had, 100,000 people on something like that on Mars. That was good, I guess. They seemed to be having a good time and not so good time. And there was a jail thing, and Ice Cube was in it, or whoever that guy was. He was in it. So that really made it, better, I guess. And they had the zombies. The zombies were nice. Now Frank. I can imagine Frank would have taken a more important interest in this film if they were Canadian zombies. Okay. Frank would have taken a more... So, let's see, what else about this film? It ended. It had an ending. I don't remember what it was, but it seemed to have an ending. It stopped playing. I noticed that. But then, the movie, apparently, YouTube thinks I'm lonely because it put war games on for free, and they're charging like $5 for that thing. And it just started playing on my TV. I thought, wow, this is really cool. They're giving me a $5 movie for free. Maybe they felt bad because I had to watch Ghosts of Mars. That may be it. I'm not sure. So there was this other film we watched, and it was at the insistence of one of our quiet members who doesn't check in on this net, but does always show up on Friday evenings at 8 o'clock over on the Afterglow. So there was this other film on Facebook, and you are quiet. I don't know why you would, but you could. Watch Nude on Mars. Mars needs nudes. Whatever it was quite different, and I don't know. That one was different. The moon's quite nice. It looks like southern Florida, you're right. Miami, I think, or something like that. That was a fun movie. I don't think we could ever get anybody to watch it, but it was a good movie. Okay, I guess that's it for me. I'll come back with unspecial effects and all of that later. This is KE5ICX, back to World Control. I don't think we could ever get anybody to watch it, but it was a good movie. Okay, I guess that's it for me. I'll come back with unspecial effects and all of that later.
Yes, absolutely. That's yes, absolutely. What you said. WX5 LTC. What do you have to say? Because you allege that you actually watched this. I'm dubious, but you allege that you watched it. WX5 LTC from WT9B. What do you have to say? Because you allege that you actually watched this. I'm dubious, but you allege that you watched it. WX5 LTC from WT9B. Wait. One more time, one more chance. Hang on. Okay, so what's on the little tiny screen on your desk there, under the other screen next to the notebook by the other? How many computers do you have on your desk, Tom? Hang on. Okay, so what's on the little tiny screen on your desk there, under?
There's more. There's even more. KE5ICX.
Computers. Yeah. All right. So,
there's even ACX.
myself to watch it, and then I forgot to bring up the piece of the file that has that information in it. So give me a second. Myself to watch it, and then I forgot to bring up that. So I forced myself to watch this, and then I forced myself to write notes, and because of that, you can either listen or you can run screaming. It's your choice. I won't really mind either way at this point. Okay, well, since Tom won't let his crack team of researchers talk to me, I have to find other sources of information. And while I was looking for something to use for a plot summary, I found a site that alleges to be an actual film industry site that had an article entitled, quote, "What We Can Learn from John Carpenter's Failed Ghosts of Mars." It goes on to say, sometimes learning from failures is just as valuable as learning from success. Personally, I've long believed that learning from failure is much more valuable than learning from success, especially if you learn from other people's failures first. I found another site that listed 10 remarkable things, though I call them interesting, maybe, about Ghosts of Mars. Number 10, the cast is full of geek-tastic actors, whatever that is. Number 9, it was shot in a New Mexico quarry. So apparently Mars looks like New Mexico? I don't know. Number 10, the cast is full of geek-tastic actors. Compendium of John Carpenter's favorite things, which may be why it's so terrible. So apparently Mars looks like New Mexico? I don't know. Number 10, the cast is full of geek-tastic actors. Compendium of John Carpenter's favorite things. Strings. Terrible. Number 5, it's another John Carpenter film with a tough guy in a black sleeveless shirt. Apparently that's a thing. Number 4, people keep shooting demons, even when they shouldn't. Number 3, drugs repel demons. Number 2, there's a flashback within a flashback within a flashback, which is getting just a little ridiculous. And number 1, it constantly spoils its own surprises. Number 2, there's a flashback. We thought, briefly, that things were going to get interesting with the flashback about the discovery of the ancient tunnel. But no, it didn't. Tony, are you still out there? Actually, I'll ask again. Is there anybody else that wants to check in and talk about some other movie because they couldn't bear to watch this one? Or, actually, even if you watched this one. Tony, are you still out there? Actually, I'll ask again. Is there anybody else that wants to check in?
5 Juliet Delta Whiskey, actually with a comment.
To watch this one? Or, okie dokie, come on in.
This is based on Burl's comment. It was a real good comment about the only thing good about the movie was the title. It had the word Mars in it. And it reminded me of an old quote from somebody like from the 60s. I wish I could remember what it was on. It seemed like it was on a Johnny Carson show or something. They were talking about a movie and they said, you know what, there's never ever been a great movie with a bad title. And this may be the first time, you know, I always thought that was a great line because every movie I've seen it was great. It was true. And I guess the reverse would be true. But this would be the only, I guess, the only counter to that statement. Anyways, that's all I got. K5, JW. Maybe the first time, you know, I always thought that was a great line because every movie I've seen it was great. It was true. And I guess the reverse
Alright,
is true. But this
thank
would be
you.
the only, I guess, the only counter to that.
Showing his boarding pass.
Anyways, that's all I got. K5, JW. Maybe the first time, you know, I always thought that was a great line.
Wow, because Tom's weird. Let's see. So, since nobody else checked in, 55 PM, Tony, any more comments? Because it's got to be, you know, you got to have thoughts on other things that you know, yeah. Anything is more interesting than this movie. Because it's got to be, you know, you got to have thoughts on other things.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I don't really have anything else to add. I have definitely heard from people who have visited nudist resorts who would say that perhaps the other movie might be accurate if there were no attractive nudists on the moon. Not a hobby I'm particularly interested in. But no, sadly, you guys are entertaining, but it is late and I go sleepy. I don't think you'll need to call on me again. But it's fun to listen. Thank you very much. NT5 to you.
Okie dokie, Tony. I will let you slumber away and not call on you again. It wasn't actually, like, the movie was misnamed. The other movie was misnamed. It was, you know, actually, I believe Brenda mentioned Topless on the Moon. And, you know, they weren't, you know, runway models or anything, but it was made in, like, 1960. I don't think they had runway models back then. Anyway. AG5 PM, Rich and Rockwall. Thoughts on characterization, other things, etc., stuff, whatever you want to talk about, things Tom's holding up on the video. 5 PM, Rich and Rockwall. Well, characterization, other things, etc., stuff.
As FYI,
I want to talk about things Tom's holding up on the video.
mode. So, having said that, I think what happened here is that this movie was supposed to be called Monsters of Mars. And these guys were all sitting around the table planning this while they were writing the plot, and they didn't have the budget for really cool monsters. So, up with this rip-off idea that someone remembers from, I think it's the second Star Trek, the first one with William Shatner, where aliens take over the crew, or at least the captain and I think one of his female crewmates. And they said, you know what? Let's use these ghost things to take over the bodies. We'll just paint them up in weird-looking, like, makeup, and we'll call it Ghosts of Mars. AG 5 p.m. That's my analysis. We'll just paint them up in weird-looking, like,
in WT9V, and that sounds as good as anything else I've heard. Frank, it's your turn in the bucket again. What you got for us? WT9V?
This is KG5ZNJ. Well, speaking of characters, since I didn't really see this movie, and I'm watching Tom there showing his various and interesting trinkets, the screen behind him has been playing quite some good characters, including the Bionic Woman, Bionic Bigfoot, and our favorite of all time, John. Some good characters, blue jumpsuit, Bionic in the 1970s, Bionic Bigfoot, and our mouse of all time, John. This is KG5ZN, back to that control.
Here's one. I'll try and take them in order. Rich, I think we're all in stream of consciousness mode at this point, assuming we're still conscious, and kind of debatable on Tom's part. And second, Frank, congratulations, you made him look. So, in KF5 TSK Burl, this is WT9V asking you, what do you think about characterization? Second, Frank, congratulations, you made him look.
I think characterization was really poor, but that was from the plot, the dialogue. They spent $28 million to make the movie. The actors got paid. They just didn't have anything to, really project. There's so much that, is missing from the movie that, the Ghost of Mars took over. Now what are you going to do about it? I mean, it's so much that is missing. Oh, I like that. See, go sell it now. Oh, well. We know what Tom is doing. There's just nothing there that, there was no acting. It was, hard to follow. Mining for natural resources. Natural, I don't know what the show that would be. So much about the movie was just kind of put together. It's like, hey, let's, we'll make a movie and, let's do it in 2 weeks. Only thing, like I said, they spent all that money and really didn't get anything. KF5 TSK back to net. Let's do it in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. G5BZWJ, round 2. What do you think? Yeah, it was pretty bad. G5BZWJ, round 2.
Straight G5BZW. Yeah, there's not much characterization to be really as we're talking about, the characters are very flat and basic, and I don't know that there's much. I mean, the only real kind of weird drama kind of thing, I don't know what to call it. When Natasha's Henstridge's character is tripping and well, really, there's two instances where she's I'm just calling it tripping. I don't know. Isn't it really? It's just I thought. No, it was. I don't know. Isn't it really? It's just I thought the whole thing. I think I was just in the right mood. I needed something I didn't really want to have to think about, and I still don't understand why. Well, no. I take that back. I mean, like I said, I watched 40 seconds of that YouTube link and said, yeah, no. I ain't gonna watch that stuff. So yeah, it was for me. It was worth the $4 I spent on it. It was like I said. Oh gosh, I'm repeating myself. It was exactly what I expected. No more, no less. Especially for something I never really heard much good about. So yeah. Yeah. I'm totally in ramble mode, so I don't think I'm really contributing any more to it. Yeah. Sorry, I just can't think of anything else. KG5B today. I don't think I'm really contributing any more to it. Yeah. Sorry.
Jay, I mean, I can't blame you. I've been in ramble mode for the last hour. I don't know what I'm talking about. Plus the fact that what's going on the live stream is much more entertaining than the movie was, as far as I'm concerned. Oh, let's see. I have my notes down that say to skip Joe and Wiley. Plus the fact that what's going on. We got to check in the much more entertaining. Yeah, I'm not sure he has, as far as I'm concerned. Come back and join in. Have my notes down that say to skip Joe and Wiley. Let's see. That brings us around to N5IMS. JJ, are you watching Tom, or is it just Brenda and I? I mean, who else is watching Tom? I'll let JJ answer first. N5IMS. JJ.
I had to say, no, I'm not watching Tom. I've still got other stuff going on, but this round is characterization. Well, I think the cast of characters was well picked. They did a good job playing their parts. I mean, Jack Nicholson as the president was very good. Glenn Close as his wife, the first lady, she did a good job. Martin Short as the press secretary was very good. Pierce Bronson as the professor, he did a good job. Michael J. Fox as the reporter, he was good. Tom Jones as the entertainment, doing his bit. I think it was It's Not Unusual. That was good. And then, of course, most important, now being we're on music, is the Slim Whitman Indian Love Call. You know, that music playing, especially while they were driving around in that beautiful Ford F-100, getting in there. You know, as soon as the aliens heard that music, their heads exploded in the glass bulb. That was fabulous. Oh, wait a minute. We're not doing Mars Attacks, are we? Sorry, I got confused. Their heads exploded in the glass bulb. That was fabulous. Oh, wait a minute. We're not doing Mars attacks, are we? Sorry, I got confused.
So I just got a text from someone who couldn't manage to hit the repeater a while ago that said, he's talking about a different movie. Like, very perceptive, Sherlock. Very perceptive. All right. Oh, next. Let's see. W5EPB, David, do you have anything for round 2 about another movie?
I was reviewing the standard resource, Wikipedia, for all things movie related, and I found that there was actually a huge opportunity that was missed here. The character who the species lady, Natasha Henstridge, originally she was not the one they wanted to cast. They originally wanted to cast Courtney Love, but she left the project after her then-boyfriend's ex-wife ran over her foot in her car while she was in training for the picture. So, you know, this movie could have been a blend of, like, reality TV and daytime talk show, plus a little horror sci-fi, and that would have appealed to a really broad audience. And, Tom, I think we all need to get together and exchange our stuff, our memorabilia, our old receipts, our ticket stubs, our old autographed books, and, you know, just sort of trade it out, because, you know, it would be like new stuff to us if we, like, exchanged it for a period of time. And I think that would be like a bevy, just like a treasure trove for each of us individually. I've got the autobiography of Dave Prowse here, autographed, and I think his mouth, just like a treasure trove for each of us individually. Another Darth Vader. It's 35 pages long. W5EBB.
Bad idea, David. I've got a copy of Sled Driver by Brian Schul, who is one of the SR-71 pilots that's autographed to me. Tom wants it, but he can't have it. I might let him look at it, though, if he's really, really nice and he says please. Speaking of Tom, put down the movie stuff and pick up the microphone or pull it over to you, because it's your turn, Tom. Yes, you, Tom. Get back in your chair, Tom. Your turn. WT9V. Movie stuff and pick up the microphone or pull it over to you, because it's your turn, Tom. Yes.
Oh, hell. Well, I've been having fun over here. I've been pulling out book collections and really cool stuff, and it's great. See, I have my... Yeah, you talk about it. I have my Richard Graham book. See, it's signed. I'm showing it online. Flying the SR-71s. I got your feet. I got a bunch of old astronauts who signed stuff, too. Probably even Brad Pitt. You know, he's an astronaut once in a while. Well, here's what I could do. I could threaten something. I want you to look on the screen. You can't see the screen, that's okay. People are leaving in droves, all two of them. I have a movie that I have been told to do for the Afterglow movie called Blood on the Brazos. Why is this so important? Because the guy I work with made this movie, and he demands that we watch it on the Afterglow Movie Net. So be careful, it's out there. It's even online. This is so important. Best job with just whatever that thing was we watched. He demands nude on the other film. That one, The Ghosts of Mars. That's the movie. I may have one of these, but at any rate, let's see, characterization. What I think we're on that part. Are we talking about something else? Characterizations. Everybody was great. All the zombies were great. The other characters were engaging and disengaging and then dead. And the ones that lost their heads, they deserved it, because really they weren't very interesting at all. All the zombies were great. The other characters were engaging. Oh, I was thinking, you know, somewhere down the road, something would happen. Whatever happened at the end of this movie? Did something happen? I can't remember. Yes, Brenda, I do have Rich's big book on the SR-71. I bring it over here, but it's too heavy. It's a cocktail table book or something. It weighs 300 pounds. She's over here trying to do that. Let's see, what else about the film? The nude on Mars was nude on the moon. That was quite interesting. I kind of found it pretty cool. They did some interesting things with little toy helmet things from 1961, Major Matt Mason stuff. That worked. Oh, by the way, there's slant panels. They're showing slant panels over on MeTV, which isn't running on the other thing, so I'm actually watching two things at the same time. What was it? The $6 Million Man female part, whatever that show. The Bionic Woman, yeah, she's running, but on the other channel they got slant panels on the Invaders series. So I'm just trying to vamp for time because the $6 million, I don't really have a movie that's really constructed. Let me reset on the Invaders series. So I'm just trying to vamp for time because the $6 million, I don't really have a movie that's really what could they have done better? We're going to go do special effects. Now I can talk about those. I'll defer. I remand my time back to the speaker. This is KE5ICX.
Most Honorable Mr. Ex-President, this is WT9V. And now it's time to see if WX5 LTC has figured out how to turn the power up from -5 watts and get hit the repeater. WX5 LTC, are you out there? And now it's time to see if...
I'm actually still in my car, thank you. Yes, I am out here. Can you just tell me if I'm actually hitting the repeater or not?
No, you're not hitting the repeater. What am I supposed to say at this point?
Yes, I am out here. Well, apparently I'm the only person in the group who actually enjoyed this movie. But I did watch the full version that Tom sent out from his personal server. The biggest complaint I had was that a well-trained lieutenant police officer was flinching every time she pulled the trigger on a weapon. But that was probably one of the only big complaints that I had about the movie. I really did actually enjoy it. A well-trained lieutenant police officer was flinching every time she pulled the trigger on a weapon. But that was... And I'm going to go ahead and turn this back to you, Michael. The big that I had about the movie. I really did actually enjoy it.
Turn it back. I can tell it because you missed the plot, and now since it's your turn, you have to tell us what you thought about characterization. You can't just say, I enjoyed it, y'all were wrong, and hang up. I mean, that doesn't work that way. Try again. The plot, and now since it's your turn, you have to tell us what you thought about characterization. You can't just say, I enjoyed it, y'all were wrong.
I personally liked the plot. Yeah, the flashbacks were a little confusing, but, you know, I was able to kind of follow it, and I'm one of these young kids with a bad attention span. But it wasn't too bad. It was, to me, it was kind of typical of what we see in the cult classics and the way that they did it. And as far as characterization, it wasn't too bad. I really liked the relationship between Jason Statham and Ice Cube. They did a really good job together, I think. But I don't know. I liked the characters, at least the ones that actually had legit talking points and weren't just standing there awkwardly staring off into the distance. But other than that, I think they did pretty well. I liked the characters, at least the ones that actually had legit talking points and weren't just standing there awkwardly staring off into the distance. But other than that...
I'm supposed to come back here because I kind of got distracted by watching the Tom show. Was that it? Because if not, I'll give it back to you.
No, that was it. WX5. I
kind of got distracted by... Okay, thank you. Thank you. I mean, you know, we're all about alternative theories. Somebody else liked it. Okay. mean, you know, we're all about alternates about the net when there's, you know, everybody, the times when everybody doesn't hate the movie or like it, it's actually, to me, more interesting because, you know, somebody says, you know, I hate it, but somebody else likes it, and then I hear why they liked it. Okay. So my psychic powers tell me that K5A&E wants to check in and tell us what he thought about the plot and characterization. So unless my psychic powers are wrong, and I'm going to stop talking here for a moment, let's see if they're right. K5A&E, are you out there? This is WT9V.
This is K5A&E. Thanks for the late check-in announcement, and I'll go ahead and start off with the plot. It was about exactly what I was expecting for a John Carpenter, early 2000s, late 90s kind of science fiction horror, I guess you might call it. Kind of you know, what you would expect from such a movie. It's not going to, it obviously didn't win any Oscars or anything like that, or any real awards. It barely even registers on Rotten Tomatoes. But overall, if you know what you're going to get, then it can be a good movie. You know, for the people that are wanting that kind of an action movie that you don't have to think too hard about, it really wasn't too bad as far as the overall plot. The plot kind of continues on, and you know, it doesn't really get stuck anywhere, it seems. The overall flow and pacing seems to be pretty good to me. It didn't really seem like there were a ton of massive plot holes. The plot kind of continues on, and you know, like, well, you know, what exactly, you know, it'd be nice to know more about these aliens, but you don't really need to know. It didn't really seem like there were things, or viruses, I guess, I don't know. You know, like, well, the characters, I thought it was kind of strange that the prisoners didn't really do much at all as far as talking or even really being there. They just kind of stood around and every now and then shot things and died. It seemed to me like they were kind of building up at least the lady that was in the prison. She had kind of that exotic costume, and I was kind of expecting her to be a bit more active, and then she just never really did much. I was actually rather surprised that, being a Jason Statham fan myself, that I really hadn't heard much about this movie before, and I was like, whoa, is that Jason Statham? What do you know? His acting at the beginning of it definitely wasn't that great, and to the end of it, it was not super great, but a bit better than the start. He actually finally started to become more real human, I guess. As the first part, he definitely just kind of came off as a creep. But, yeah, other than that, the lead actor, she seemed to do a pretty good job, and that character design seemed to be pretty straightforward. I have to say, especially with all this metal music, it definitely seemed like it was a better Doom than Doom. The lead actor, she seemed to do a pretty good job. This is K5A&E, returning it back to net control. Pretty straightforward. I have to say,
Alrighty, thank you, Kane. And this is WT9V, and I see on Echo Link, yes, Tom, I'm paying attention to Echo Link, thanks a lot. KG5, alrighty, thank you. Does anyone? WT9V, and I see on Echo Link, yes, Tom, audio, and Echo Link, thanks a lot. KG5.
Yes, this is Kilo Golf 5 Whiskey Romeo November. I go by Mike Kin. I live in West Fort Worth, and that's where I'm currently transmitting and connecting from. Thanks for picking me up this evening. I've been listening for probably close to an hour now. Every time that I have the availability to check in on the net, I definitely will try and have tried over the past year, I guess. I don't know. It just seems like I never have a chance to hear this net, even though I thoroughly enjoy the cinematic review that this net provides. And now I'm going to attempt to dedicate it to my very short memory that it's 10:30 on Saturday night. So unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to see the movie. Sadly, I'm sure it would have been a very colorful rendition, kind of like the Jacob's Technicolor petticoat there. So anyhow, I'm going to send it back to Ned. Thanks for picking me up, and look forward to hearing from y'all again soon. AG5, WRN, back to Net Control. The Jacob's Technicolor petticoat there. So anyhow, I'm going to send it back to Ned.
Alrighty, welcome to the net. And for next week and in the future, send a note to Tom at KG5ICX at KE5, right? Tom, you know, that guy on the video over there. KX at yahoo.com, and a note to Tom at KG5, and he will know what movie it should be. Sometimes, like that, this week, it's not a good link, but, you know, it usually gets you the idea, and it's a little reminder every week. There's also a Facebook group, which is the word Afterglow. You happy now, Brenda? And then the word movie. So 2 words, Afterglow, movie. Afterglow is 1 word, Brenda. So, you know, quit griping at me in text. Anyway, look for the Afterglow movie group on Facebook, and you can sign up there. If you don't like Facebook, then send Tom an email. And that means it's time for my commentary about characterization. The first note I made about characterization was that Sergeant Jericho was an annoying tit with all of his bragging at the beginning of the movie. But on second thought, they were all annoying. And that's all I've got. So now we're going to go back and we're going to skip Tony because he's asleep, and we're going to skip K5JW unless John wants to say something else about something else. I'll give him a moment, John. And that's all I've got. So now we're going to go.
Offered, I will. I don't have any comments about the movie, but as bad as this thing was, you managed to drag it out for an hour and a half and fill the space. I'm impressed. And just about the right timing. This is one of the few times I can work out in the garage. The temperature is 61.1 now. And that won't be that way in a month. So anyway, it's nice to enjoy the temperatures and have something to listen to while I'm working. So congratulations. One of the few times I can work out in the garage. And that's all I got. K5 JW. 61.1. And that won't be that way.
Yeah, I'm going to take the fact
to enjoy the temperatures and have something to listen to.
Haven't turned it off and discussed and gone home yet as a positive thing. WT9B. HE5 PM, Rich, Rockwall. Comments about anything else? Special effects or other things? Anything you'd like to talk about? Positive thing. WT9B.
You might regret that, but I'll reserve myself for the moment. You know, I didn't think the special effects were, well, special. It was a pretty low-budget flick. The guns they were using kind of looked, you know, I don't know, super modern, we'll call it. But, you know, other than that, I didn't see a whole lot there. But again, I only watched the first 15 minutes of the abridged version on YouTube. My other comment would be, but other than that, I didn't see a whole lot. We do seem to talk more about the ones that are stinkers. Anyway, I would love to hang further, but I have to go check on the pork butt that I was supposed to finish around 8 o'clock this evening. That's still cooking. So I have to check out and be clear on this last transmission, AG5 PM. So check on the pork butt that I was supposed to finish around 8 o'clock this evening.
Well, good luck with your pork butt. And Brenda just chastised me for skipping her because I forgot. Because, you know, she figures I'm mad at her for chastising. It's been a chastising evening tonight. So, Brenda, what are your thoughts about characterization?
Thank you. This is WB5OZL. I want to see some real ghosts. I'm really disappointed we didn't have that. All we saw were human beings. And they just told us they were ghosts. I'm not sure about all this. So this is kind of fraudulent in my opinion. Generally the characters were okay. I was only vaguely familiar with a few of the actors. And they did a good job. I have no complaint over that. But, you know, it's just, I mean, it's hard to make a good movie with the script, when the script is so bad and the story is so bad. So bless their hearts, they did their best. All right, back to that, WB5OZL. I mean, it's hard to make a good movie.
Well, thank you for that. And now I'll try and remember where I was before I had to jump you in the list. Oh yeah, KG5, Zombies Need Jobs, Frank and Sourmount. What do you have to say about special effects and other things? And are you impressed at how long I've managed to drag this turkey out?
This is KG5, Z&J. Yeah, I am. It's longer than Thanksgiving dinner. So, good job on that. I just noticed that, Bionic Bigfoot, in the original one, I remember was Andre the Giant, but this is, I think, the return of Bigfoot on Tom's screen, and, Lurch is playing Bigfoot. Bionic Bigfoot, in the original one, I remember was Andre the Giant, but this is, I think, the return of Bigfoot.
Thank you very much. Thank you. No applause, just throw me. KF5TSK, Burl. WT9V would like to know your thoughts on everything else. Special effects, non-special effects, whatever else you got on your mind. Thank you.
This is KF5TSK. I think Tom did an excellent job tonight entertaining us. If not for what he was doing, the movies in the background were good. So, as far as the movie, probably the only reason we stayed was to hear what the movie's going to be next week. So, back to that, KF5TSK. As far as the movie, probably the only reason we stayed was...
I think you're right. The Tom show has been much more entertaining than the other movie. At least for most of us. Not for all of us. And that's okay. So, KG5, VWJ, any final thoughts before we put this turkey to bed? At least for most of us. Not for all of us. And that's okay.
This is KG5, VWJ. Not really. I mean, I don't force me to think. I gotta get up tomorrow morning, so I could probably say something, but it's like, I don't worry really, yeah. I don't want to spend. Don't force me to think. No time. I mean, it was tomorrow morning, so somebody I could probably say. We're the only one that. I enjoyed it. It was like I said, it was exactly what I expected. So anyway. And it's the next person. KG5BGW. I enjoyed it. It was like I said, it was exactly what I expected.
Jay, we don't want to keep you up too late and all that, so yeah, we're probably going to wrap it up pretty quick. Besides, the repeater's going to start going back into normal mode soon. So, I'll hand it over to WB5OZ Brenda for her final comment. WT9V. See, I didn't skip you this time.
I know, you wouldn't dare do it twice. Who knows what I might do? This is W5OZL. Some final thoughts on Wikipedia. This is actually kind of amusing. The track listing, the titles of the song in this movie are hilarious. Like Dismemberment Blues and Pam Grier's Head, Slashing Gash. Now, John Carpenter is given credit on virtually, I think, on every one of these. I don't know if he writes or sings, but I have to go back and check some of these songs out and see what they're about. 'Cause to me, it was just background. All right, it's late. This is fun. Thank you so much. We're still here to make it entertaining. B5OZ.
Don't have to lie to me, Brenda. I know that y'all are only here because you're waiting for Tom to tell you what the next movie is. Guess what? He's not gonna. I'm gonna, because I'm gonna look it up on Facebook. Of course, it might be wrong. He's been known to change things at the last moment before. While I'm looking that up, JJ, in 5IMS, what do you have to say about whatever else?
W5FC.
Trying to bring things back full circle, going back to my original comments, relating them to special effects. I really enjoyed the special effects of the nude zombies being teleported from Mars to the moon. Now, admittedly, it was only a fade out on one side and a fade in with the others, with a few sparkles built in just so it looked like it wasn't just the fade out and the fade in. But, you know, regardless, you know, it's the only special effects that I could remember from the movie that I didn't see. So, you know, you get what you get. This is N5IMS. Good net. Regardless, you know, it's the only special effects that I could remember.
Thank you, JJ. I appreciate the compliment. W5EBB, David, comments about whatever else is from WT9V. Thank you, JJ.
Well, the weapons they used against these ghosts were totally...
W5EBB, David.
And they really should have done their homework. Busters and just used against this particular... Rise of... proton pack with containment unit, psychokinetic energy disruptor inverters, ectoplasm interference oscillators, and last but not least, slime scoopers. W5EBB. Proton pack with containment unit.
I'm not meaning to say I disagree with you, but it appeared to me, from what I could see on the film, that the most effective thing would have been dust filters. Call me crazy, I don't know, because I probably am. After all, I'm here doing this net, and we've seen what Tom is like, at least those that have been watching him. And speaking of Tom, yes, it's your turn again to wrap this up. Well, I mean, wrap this up as in final thoughts, special effects, non-special effects. You know what part it is. You've done this net before. From WT9V, yes, it's your turn again to wrap this up. Well, I mean, wrap this up as in...
Well, let's see. This is KE5ICX. Now, I'm going to go to the special effects on Nude on the Moon, because that was our alternate movie since we only had 30 minutes to watch. I mean, it was like watching a situation comedy on the first one, but Nude on the Moon was really cool because when the astronauts, which was somebody who managed to do, what was it, furs or something, furs business, ended up, building his own spacecraft, very similar to Elon Musk. In the end, they ended up managed to do, and they had blue sky, looked like Southern California, Florida. His own spacecraft, very probably. And they had a constellation, an LO-49, that they were using as the spacecraft interior. That was pretty cool. And then they had this door that opened up. It's definitely an LO-49. Trust me, I know these things. I don't know where they found it. And then they were talking on the microphones. The two of them, they're in the spacecraft, the constellation, and they're right next to one another. They're using the microphone and talking to each other. No headphones, there's no noise. They're just taking and putting it up to their faces and talking on the microphone. That was pretty weird. And let's see, what else happened that was really kind of weird. Well, those things are probably the most obvious. Oh yeah, the revolving stone wall thing was kind of like nobody could find it, even though they bump into it, and it would kind of like swivel a lot, and nobody noticed that. So I don't know. I'm not sure. And now Lost in Space is on with Kurt Russell. He's about 7 in this, and the challenge. Oh, by the way, talking about the episode of the Bionic Woman, they show our heroes walking out, Steve Austin and Mrs. Steve Austin, whatever her name is, the Bionic Woman. By the way, talking about, I forgot we got to do that because now it's after midnight. They have this rotating thing going on. Well, that's the rotating thing that they would take you through on the tram when you went on the Universal Studios lot. You can even see the fluorescent light tonight. It's amazing. And they have this rotating, I guess, he's that guy that played through on the tram when you went on the Steve Austin's buddy. That's it for me. You already know what the movie is, so I'll leave it to you. This is KE5ICX. Back to World Control. Steve Austin's buddy.
Alrighty then. Unlike some net control people that make you do half the work, I'll tell what people. You know what I mean. That means that it's time for WX5LTC. What did you think about things like special effects on whatever movie you happen to see? Personally, like I said, I think the other one was better, but you might not agree. I don't know. WX5LTC, take it away. What do you think about things like special effects?
I don't think being a lower budget 2001 movie, the special effects weren't too bad. The one thing that got me at the end, it's more of a prop issue, was the chrome Uzis that Ice Cube came walking in the room with. It was just kind of an out-of-place add to the rest of the movie. I don't think it really fit in with the rest of what was going on. But, they did pretty well for a lower budget 2001 movie, I think. There wasn't anything that was too awful that I noticed. But that's all I got. WX5LTC. But, they did pretty well for a lower budget.
Actually have to go back and look, but $28 million in 2001, I think, was pretty good sized money, but I hadn't gotten insane. Actually have to go back, the best I remember. But 28, Tom, how much? 2001, 28 million as far as the average movie budget in 2001.
Well, let's see. Let me add it up. The movie was made in 2001. It cost $28 million to make. Carry the one. $28 million. Well, let's see. Let me add it up.
Yes, but was that a lot of money, or was it a low-budget flick?
$8 million to make. If you were the investor, it was a lot of money. If you were one of the people watching the movie, it was a low-budget film. $28 28 million was probably in the ballpark right about then. 2001, yeah. Of course, you got to remember the first of the new Star Wars movies came out, so they were zillions of dollars. So I don't know. First of the new old episode 1 or something, I think it was probably more than that, like 100 million or something. I don't know. It was in line with your average John Carpenter film at that point. KE5ICM or something, I think it was probably more than that, like 100 million or something. I don't know.
Wonderful dissemination of waffle. Yeah, very good waffling. K5A&E, what do you have to say to wrap things up? Since you're new here, special effects or whatever else at this point.
W5FC.
Good waffling. K5A&E.
I thought special effects actually kind of, because I was expecting it to be kind of a low budget. It starts off and it has this pretty some decent sized sets and things like that. So I was actually kind of surprised to see that I was like, oh, this is going to be some low budget kind of thing. But no, actually I was decently put together. I mean, it wasn't the best special effects in the world, but on the other hand, it's a John Carpenter movie. What do you expect? I do have to say the soundtrack, as somebody else mentioned earlier, I actually really did enjoy the soundtrack a good bit on this movie. That's part of what leads me to say that it was a better Doom than Doom, is that it had all this metal music going on as they're fighting all these, Mars zombie creatures, or people, I guess. But yeah, that's about all I have to say. Oh yeah, and then also I do agree with you, Michael, that the best weapon would probably have been a Dyson or a dustbuster. Would probably be the best thing to take these things down. This is K5A&E, back to net control. That's about all I have to say. Oh yeah, and then also.
Well done. Thank you for that. All right, let's see. We also had KG5WRN. Any last comments? Well, except for me, you're the last one here. Unless we can dredge up somebody else, and it's probably unlikely at this point. KG5WRN, any thoughts? Any last comments? Well, except for me, you're the last one here. Unless we can dredge up somebody else, and it's probably unlikely at this point. KG5WRN, any thoughts?
Retag WD50ZL.
We'll find it at KG5WRN, but what you got?
Well, here, so I figured I would be this one.
We'll find it at KG5WRN.
Dollar compared to now, and $28 million in 1961 would be worth $241 million roughly now. It would be 50ZL. Compared to now.
Okay, I'm a little confused because this movie was made. The movie we're supposed to be talking about was made in 2001.
I beg your pardon. I'm confused. I thought it was made much earlier than that. Okay, I'll redo it.
This movie was made. The other movie was made in 1961. The one that you said was better than. Well, I think we all said was better than this one. Nude on the Moon, better than Ghost on Mars, of Mars, whatever. So I had one comment, and the only comment I had about special effects was that 175 years in the future from when the movie was made, the CCTV monitors look just like they did 20 years ago. Any other check-ins at this point? Was that 175 years in the future from when the movie was made, the CCTV monitors look just like they did 20 years ago? I guess not. So at this point, I will say that the moment that everybody has been staying awake for, next week's movie is Star Command from 1996. Be here or else. And if you want to know what I mean by or else, I'll stick Brenda on you. You don't want that. So be here next week. From 1996, which apparently is 29. So, won't be able to do that for years. This has been WT9Z with your Afterglow movie. And I'm giving up now. Wait, no? What? That's the movie? Wait, what? Yeah, Tom's messaging me. Tom, do you want to say something? WT9Z with your Afterglow movie.
Movie is Star Command. Say it right. KE5I6.
Tom's messaging me. Tom, do you want to... Okay, let me see if I got this right. Star Command from 1996. How was that?
Say it right. KE5I6. Much better. But everybody went to sleep, or away, or both. Remember to always buy bonds. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. WT9V. Aren't you amazed that I managed to, drag this thing on for almost 2 hours?
Bye bonds. Bye-bye. You've seen My Dinner with Andre. If you haven't, you deserve it. KE5I6.
Almost 2 hours. Or the opposite.
You've seen My Dinner with Andre. If you haven't, you deserve it. KE5I6. Have somebody tie you to a seat and do that little eye thing they do in that movie. And somebody drops eyelets, the little moisturizers in your eye. My Dinner with Andre. It's your film. Tie you to a seat and do the little eye thing they do in that movie.
I'm not at all sure. Perhaps, is it...
moisturizers in your eye.
Then is there a jump cut version of it?
It's your film. Tie you to a seat and do the eye thing they do in that movie. Anybody who's still awake is looking it up right now. You'll find out. My Dinner with Andre.
Is there a jump cut version of it? Is this your dinner with Andre? Because I wouldn't be surprised at all if, you were in a film.
My Dinner with Andre. Well, I've been in a movie. I was in Silver Streak. You can't find me anywhere in it. I think I got stuck on the cutting room floor. But I was in that movie. No, My Dinner with Andre with quotes before my and after Andre. You'll see. It's got the guy in it that reminds you of Neelix. He's in it, but I don't think it's Neelix. From 1981. It's an hour and 51 minutes long. You'll feel every minute of it. Before my and after Andre. You'll see. It's got the guy in it that reminds you of Neelix. He's in it.
Slightly longer than I've managed to make this net last. Amazing. And it just, I've heard of it, and it might be that I've only heard of it from you. I'm not sure. Slightly longer than I've managed to make this net last. Amazing. And
either gets 5 stars or it gets 0 stars. It depends on your feelings at the time that you watch the film.
And remember, Andre was played by Andre. This is N5IMS.
Either gets 5 stars or it gets 0 stars. It depends on your feelings at the time that you watch the film.
And remember, Andre was played by...
He's seen the film.
This is N5IMS.
Either gets 5 stars or it gets 0 stars. It depends on your feelings at the time that you watch the film.
And remember, Andre was...
highly rated on IMDb. So, who knows what that means. Highly rated on IMDb. Wondering if there's anybody else out there that's still listening to us yammer back and forth.
This is W5EBB. Nope, no one else.
W5FC.
W5OZL, I'm not here either.
Tom, I do have a question. Is that the TV Star Showdown Ultimate Fighting pay-per-view, Kurt Russell versus Billy Mooney? Tom, I do have a question. Is that the TV?
Yes, it's a classic. Yes, that was a good episode. It's got, what's his name? I'll think of it. He played a technomage in Babylon 5, too. Michael Ansaria. He also played one of the Klingons in one of the episodes. So, yeah, and he usually played a low-cost Yul Brynner. In this case, this episode, he's wearing a skull cap. Normally, I think he's wearing a skull cap. He usually just shaved his head off, shaved his hair off his head. And he was married to Yul Brynner. In this case, to Barbara Eden, wearing a skull cap. But a stinging. I think he's wearing a skull cap. He usually just shaved his head off, shaved his thing. Maybe it's not a. He did have it shaved off on this one. KE5ICX.
I'm going through the entire DVD set now, and I just watched the one where they went inside the robot. So, yeah, I already went through season 1. Love the show. I'm going through the
second season, Trip Inside the Robot was the name of the episode, in case you wanted to know, because it was very different from what actually happened, or not. Inside the Robot was the name of the episode, in case you wanted to know, because
one thing I've wondered about,
what actually happened.
Is there any episode that describes Jonathan Harris's or Dr. Smith's signet ring? He's always wearing that, and there's never any explanation about what it is, if anything, related to the show. Is there any episode what do you think? That describes Jonathan Harris's or Dr. Smith's signet ring?
There is a story to it. I think, if I remember correctly, it was actually it belonged to his father, or maybe his mother, probably his father, I think is what it was. He always wore it. So, yeah, there is a significance to it. I can't remember exactly what it was. Did you know that he bought the house that Walt Disney, not the big huge house, but he bought the house that Walt Disney originally lived in? He and Gertrude, his wife, lived in it up until both their deaths. So I thought that was kind of interesting. It is a big huge house, but he bought the house that all of his family lived in. Yeah, just would ask for autograph. Lived in it up until both their deaths. So I thought that was kind of interesting. He would write these back. That was a big deal with him because he loved his fans. Of course, he loved himself more, but he loved his fans. Anybody that would give him any sort of attention, he always lavished a lot of attention back. He was kind of a fun guy that way. And by the way, he was always, if Dr. Smith and Jonathan Harris were one and the same, KE5ICX. Would give him any sort of attention, he always lavished a lot of attention.
Is it true that there's actually a Denton, Texas connection? That there's some sci-fi museum, or there was one, where he made an appearance, or he had some, affiliation with that? Do you know anything about that? Actually, a Denton, Texas connection. That there's some sci-fi museum, or there was one, where he made an appearance.
No, I really don't. I don't know of any connection there. No, I really don't. I had not heard that.
Well, that's something I'll look up again, but I think maybe it was a video clip or news clip or something of him making an appearance there, or donating some items from Lost in Space, or from the Dr. Smith character to this sci-fi museum or something to that effect. But I'll look it up, and next time we have a chat, I'll tell you what I find. But anyway, I'll clear the frequency now and say good night, everyone. W5EBB. Something to that effect. I'll look it up, and next time we have a chat, I'll tell you what I find. But anyway, I'll clear the frequency now and
to find a new start.
W5.
EBB. Something to that effect. I'll look it up, and next time we have a chat, I'll tell you what I find.
To the Suki, $47.7 million. So apparently this was a low-budget flick. One right, Alex. WT9V.
Just remember, the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey was made in 1969, and it was $10 million. Just saying. Just remember, the movie 2001:
You're gonna make me go look at something else, aren't you?
1969, and it was $10 million. Just saying. Well, if you want to, you can.
Make me go look at something else, aren't you?
Realize that it was not Wallace Shawn's only dinner with Andre. He had another one, obviously.
Wait a minute, the name of the movie was not My Only Dinner with Andre, it was My Dinner with Andre. So yes, it had to be more than one.
I'm talking a different Andre. Him and Andre the Giant were both in Princess Bride. You know they had at least one dinner together somehow.
My Dinner with Andre. So yes, it had to be more than one. I just realized something. The worse the movie, the less it's interesting the longer these nets go. There is something about this that does not make sense.
Actually, I was thinking about that, and you have to... For the most part, you're right. Only week before last with... And I was thinking about that, and you have to... For the most part, you're right.
Well, I have to admit, when we did the movie, what was it? The Voyages of Sinbad, and it was a Bollywood film. That one probably was, everyone bailed on that one. It didn't even have a science fiction slant. It was pretty bad. But Brenda picked that one, I think. The Voyages of Sinbad, and it was...
I did not. And the reason why I bailed is because everybody drifted away. Nobody was interested in talking about it. So if you follow that up.
You have to capture their interest, Brenda. You have to, do things like, what was the movie that I... You have to say things like, oh, now I forgot what it was. This is that whole, trying things out. You have to say things like Star Command. Wake people up every now and then so they don't all doze off on their microphones. Just a tip. Now I forgot what it was. This is that whole, trying things out.
Really? WB50ZL.
Wake people up every now and then. Works for Tom, so I'm copying him. What can I say? WT9V.
Careful, Michael. You run her off. That's half the movies instead of a third of them you get to do. N5 IMS.
I didn't mean it, Brenda. I didn't mean it. So I'm copying him. What can I say? WT9V.
Careful, Michael.
I don't believe you. This is WB50ZL.
Third of them you get to do. N5 IMS.
I didn't mean it, Brenda. I didn't mean it. So I'm copying him. What can I say? WT9V. To really like Tom.
I don't believe you. This is WB50ZL. Yeah, well, don't tell him. WB50ZL.
They're not listening. Don't worry. To really like Tom.
I don't believe you. This is WB50ZL. Yeah, well, don't tell him. WB50ZL.
You ran out of things to say, Tom. They're not listening. Don't worry.
Probably forgot he left the dogs out and didn't bring them in when they wanted to. N5 IMS.
In front of Lost in Space, and then wake up during Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea and go to bed. That's what I always do. KE5ICS.
Left the dogs out and didn't bring them in when they wanted to. N5 IMS.
In all fairness, I have seen a few net on the video where you were, I think, asleep, at least part of. Well, I know you've been asleep for part of the net. Not sure if you were ever NCS at the time. Might have happened. In all fairness, I have seen it.
Yeah, you fell out of your chair, Tom.
On the video where you were, I think, asleep, at least part of. Well, I know you've been asleep for part of the net.
There was that one time when the chair fell apart and I did fall. I was there and then it was gone. It was like I beamed up or something. It was very quick. Yeah, that did happen. That was a couple of years ago. Never buy. If you need a safety chair, do not buy it at Goodwill. Bad idea. I was there and then it was gone. It was like I beamed up or something. It was very quick.
Still wish you knew when that happened so I could watch that episode. Because the incredible disappearing Tom sounds like. That sounds like.
Bad idea.
Like.
Still
wish you knew when that happened so I could watch that episode. Because the incredible disappearing Tom sounds like. That sounds like.
The song, part of the song going through my mind, kick him when he's up, kick him when they're down, kick him when they're up, kick him when they're down, and 5 IMS.
You're twisted. WT9V.
The song, part of the song going through my mind.
It reminds me I have to do laundry tomorrow.
Kick them when they're up, kick them when they're down, and 5 IMS. Oh, a red sock in with the white shirt.
Or with your white undies.
You stole my line.
Red sock in with the white shirt.
You know, JJ's quick. Or with your white undies.
Now you got another song in there going through my mind, you know. I get my fun above the waist, thank you. Send 5 IMS.
You know, JJ's quick. Or with your white undies.
Yes, I remember that.
Another song in there going through my mind, you know. I get my fun above the waist, thank you. Send 5 IMS.
You know, JJ's quick. It's funny, I haven't had pink underwear in a long time. Wonder why. Like my red stuff now doesn't bleed anymore. Oh well.
Wet dye, 6 cents.
Long time. Wonder why. I'm calling you were kind of weak into the repeater. Improve your power or location and try again.
Wet dye, 6 cents.
Long time. WRN, you were kind of weak into the repeater. Improve your power or location. Come on in.
Forgetting about this delay, but wanted to ask to see, is this still a controlled net, or have the wheels officially fall off?
Oh, I threw the wheels off and all that kind of stuff about 20 minutes ago. This is just a free-for-all. WT9V.
Or have the wheels officially fall off? Okay, that's what they say. You get in where you fit in. Glad to be here. This is a real interesting experience for me, watching the live stream and being able to reach you, well, through the repeater. So this is a real interesting experience for me. Thanks for letting me break in. KG5 WRN.
Oh, and just for, you know, historical sake or accuracy or just for your information, Afterglow is just barely controlled in the best of times, which is one of the reasons that I agreed to be one of the NCS, because I'm not so great with, you know, the whole rigidly formed, is anybody, you know, needing me as the repeater, if you have any, you know, all that kind of stuff that they normally do. I believe in having a little bit more fun. I'm not so, that's where I took it, WT9V. rigidly formed. Is anybody, needing me as a repeater and chiming in?
Or in which,
all that kind of stuff that they normally do. I believe in having a little bit of fun.
Well, I seen Trump's head shaking on the video as soon as I checked in, and I thought he was telling me, don't talk, but then I realized there's a, probably about a 8 or 10 second delay there, so it was completely unrelated. Anyhow, I'm really glad to be here, and it's a lot of fun to hear everybody's take on the movie. I'm just trying to figure out what works for me and use that. I'm really glad to be here.
I mean, what I usually do is I've got a video on because I'm watching the live stream, but I have it muted because there's so much of a delay, and I want to see what kind of weird stuff Tom is getting up to because it's a little strange. At best. Sometimes he's a lot strange. Echo Link is a little bit of a delay. I've got it on my phone and I can hear myself talking, so I have it muted as much as possible. But if you just do Echo Link, like, a couple of other people that come in, then it actually works pretty well as long as I remember to key down and wait for about a half a second. Otherwise, the first couple of syllables get cut off on the Echo Link side. But we're glad to have you and hope that you come back next week. WT9B. Pretty well as long as I remember to key down and wait for about a half a second. Otherwise, the first couple of syllables get cut off on the Echo Link side. But we're glad to have you and don't actually have to recheck or anything. Just talk. WT9B. Pretty well as long as I remember to key down and wait for about a half a second. Otherwise, the first couple of syllables get cut off on the Echo Link side.
Yeah, I kind of messed when I was watching the video stream and using that as my audio as well. So, well, now that I realize that's how that's going to work, I decided it's better to listen to the RF from the repeater. Video stream and using that as my audio.
Yep, that's pretty much it. I mean, the video is frequently entertaining, and I think that, for the most part, the video is kind of superfluous at this point, except when Tom is going through his collection of memorabilia, which usually doesn't happen. But there's a lot more purpose during the Skynet at 9 o'clock because he's got a lot of, other things that go on, like pictures and pages, and it's an addendum to what's going on as opposed to his look on his face now. It's an addendum to what's going on Skynet as opposed to just the Tom show on the Afterglow. Make sense?
W5ST. And as they say on Skynet, is to get the full thing, you have to listen on the repeater for the actual net where people pretty much control themselves and, do things in a respectable, normal manner. Then you've got the video stream, which extends a little bit further out of the norm and, is still fun to watch and enjoyable and instructable. And then you've got the Echo Link chat session, which kind of gets really off the wall and, we it's still fun to watch and enjoyable. Having running jokes, and then you got the on where people are commenting back, which kind of what have you. It's really, if that's coming on at the same time if you watch everything, and it's kind of fun. So feel free to enjoy yourself. But yes, listening over the repeater is the best thing to do. It's the most immediate. This N5INS coming on at the same time if you watch everything. And it's kind of fun, so feel free to enjoy yourself.
And enjoy myself, I will, yes. This is very exciting to be able to make contact all the way into Dallas, so great. And enjoy myself, I will, yes. This is very exciting to be able to make contact.
Well, like I said, we're glad to have you. The more the merrier. If you haven't gotten on the list, and do that, to get on the list so that you know what movie we're going to rip apart next. Although sometimes they're good movies and we like them, and, like last week was Back to the Future. And do that, to get on the list so that you know what movie we're going to rip apart next. Although sometimes they're good movies and we like them, and, like last
That sounds like a great idea. Sorry about the delay. It's just I'm trying to get around here to asking Tom about the pink TVs in the back. At first I thought that was CRT screens just with pink screen. And then, I'm just trying to clarify. Those are light changing or color changing bulbs, right? The pink TVs in the back. At first I thought that was CRT screens just with pink screen. And then,
they are LED. They are inside of a 90s Euro lamp. Are on, so after it goes beyond 11 o'clock, they go to purple, pink, whatever you want to call it, I don't know, night light, so they don't trip over the animals, and that's it. Then they shut off, or I don't know, they do other things. You can even, they'll bounce to light and everything else. It's kind of fun. KE5ICX. So they don't trip over the animals.
Thank you for clarifying that, and I just got to let you know how much fun I really am having. If only you could actually see me too, you would see a big smile across my face. I'm telling you, this is great fun. Thank you for clarifying that, and I just got to let you know how much fun I really am having. If only you could actually see me too, you're welcome. A big smile across my face.
Sure works. I'm the last one to know when it's all said and done. So, but there's a whole 2 people looking. It's amazing. 2 people. Well, that's what it says. I don't know. It's Facebook on the one and YouTube on the other and Twitch on the other. So who knows? Probably less when you spread it out. So if there's 2 on Facebook and there's 3 streams, then there's nobody watching actually. KE5ICX.
I'm watching I'm watching you on YouTube. Does that count?
So if there's 2 on Facebook and there's 3 streams, then there's.
I'm watching on Facebook.
KE5ICX.
I would be watching on Facebook, but it doesn't work on IE. I get the.
I'm watching you on YouTube. Does that count?
Green play button. I think the encoder is.
I'm watching on Facebook.
Should be fixed. Needing to upgrade the OS on it. Once I get enough stuff done, I can have time to send 5 IMS. I think the encoder is.
The YouTube link.
Should be fixed. You know what hooked me into tonight's net? Once I get enough stuff done,
I have no idea. Do tell.
Skynet.
The YouTube link. I started thinking it might be something I did. But yeah, Miss Billy, nobody says Skynet like Miss Billy.
Skynet. Oh, one other thing, along with the Afterglow net, request that you be given access to the Skynet Facebook page too, if you like Facebook. That gives you information and some more presentations and things on that as well. So it's also interesting to send 5 IMS. Given access to the Skynet Facebook page too, if you like Facebook. That gives you information and some more presentations and things on that as well. So it's also interesting to send 5 IMS. Given access to the Skynet.
No, you were going to get homework tonight, did you?
I've got homework every night. It never stops.
No, you were going to get homework tonight, did you? Hopefully you don't usually get it on the radio.
I've got homework every night. It never stops. There was just a delay there. I want to take over the
You know, maybe it's a...
just a delay there. I want to take over the...
Sorry, I don't know what you were talking about with that last transmission. Maybe I'm the only one that was lost. Sorry, I don't know what you were talking about.
Kilo, Golf, 5, Whiskey, Romeo, November.
9V.
Kilo, Golf, 5, Whiskey, Romeo, November.
9V.
Kilo, Golf, 5, Whiskey, Romeo, November.
UX5, LTC.
Past your bedtime, Tom.